doing right now. He's saying Ranty doesn't have measurements, and he's going to need to have measurements.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but there's no curvature in those pictures.
Oh, okay. So how do you explain that the hills behind are lower than they should be?
Why would I drop for a horizontal toy? It's a picture of a building.
Well, because you've just made a claim about it. So
no, you're making a claim about it that there's curvature. That picture shows curvature.
Yeah, my claim is that the hills behind are lower than they would be if the Earth is flat. How do you explain that?
That's exactly what I would expect on a flat Earth model. I don't know what the
why. Why would you expect them to be lower than they would be?
Exactly as I would expect.
Why?
Yeah, when you do this, on a flat table, that's never the results that you get. An object that's higher than you are will never be below your eye line.
You know, let Brandon speak.
Yeah, that's too short of a distance.
Too short of a distance for what?
Yeah, when you graph this out orthographically, it's also impossible for that angle to ever be below your eye level.
Well, hold on. Too short of a distance.
Orthographically.
Hold on. Too short of a distance for what?
Too short of a distance for you to see that effect.
What is the distance?
On a table, usually less than 6 feet.
Right, but what is the distance in the photograph? Are you not saying that?
The other night it was like 60 kilometers or 60 miles, something like that. Yeah, no, that's a long distance.
I just don't get. Explain to me though why you would expect the hills to look lower on a flat Earth. Why?
That's how optics and perspective works.
Over right, is it? Okay.
Yes, it is.
Do you have anything to back that up at all, or is that just you saying the word
empirical evidence
and perspective?
We have a ton of empirical observations, such as those photographs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bit of a circular.
Those photographs are proof that our
This is the trick. This is the trick you pulled when I was in your thing recently, where you'd got someone had shot ships going over the horizon that were completely obstructed, and 5 years ago, in fact, even 2 years ago. Ships being obstructed over the horizon. This was some optical effect, and it could be removed by zooming in and all this. All you had to do was zoom in with a P900 and it would go away. Now, you're presenting ships obstructed by the horizon as proof of a flat Earth somehow. In your twisted lunatic view of reality. How is that?
You still don't understand that there's different phenomena, so... but you're mixing a bunch of stuff up.
Right, but Brandon, you must see that you've got ships not being obstructed by the horizon shows the Earth is flat, and ships being obstructed by the horizon shows the Earth is flat. This should show you there's a flaw in your reasoning somewhere.
No,
because everything just shows you the Earth is flat. Even things that are completely contradictory, both show the Earth is flat. That's a flaw in reasoning.
I could say that same sentence to you and replace Earth is flat with Earth is globe, and the same exact thing would be true because no matter what picture I show you, you say, "Yep, that's a globe." Just like that Blackpool Tower picture, there's no curvature in that picture.
But if
you don't see any curvature, you just imagine it. It's all in your head. You calculate it.
Clearly, it's not because the mountain is higher than Blackpool Tower, and yet it appears to be lower. That is not in my head. That is visible in the photograph. What is in your the thing that's in somebody's head is optics and perspective. You haven't got anything to back that up. It's just completely just two words you just throw in to reject something. You can't demonstrate any perspective effect that makes this happen. You can't explain why this is a result of optics. It's just made up shit. So you can't keep pretending the Earth is flat. Well, we can. I mean, we can calculate. We can calculate the effects of refraction.
You can calculate
very easily.
It, yeah.
Many people have done it within this community. So in fact, it was actually done for this observation. Ruhib did it. Used a ray tracer to do it.
I can calculate that there's no curvature in that picture.
Well, you can't with anything legitimate.
Ranty said the
look forward for your tomorrow show. You analyze
How would you?
I will.
Okay, how would you?
I will.
All right, let's see you do that on your show
tune in tomorrow.
Show us how you've calculated legitimately that there's no curvature in this picture.
That's fair, yeah.
No
that's
problem.
fair.
Easily.
No problem.
Got the measurements, the facts, the figures, the numbers.
You'll just say optics and perspective, and what you'll do. This is what I guarantee you'll do.
Since you need some numbers.
What I absolutely guarantee you'll do is you will mention this picture for a minimum amount of time possible, and then you'll just start talking about a load of other observations. You say, look at it here, and look what's happening in this picture. And you won't do anything with this.
Yeah, because I've always shied away from anything that has any potential to debunk us, don't I?
I'm just saying.
What's the two words black
You're
swan?
shying away from it now, Brandon. You've just come in here, said there isn't any. I'm just going to keep believing, even though I can see with my own eyes that there is. And I'll just keep telling you.
I don't see any curvature.
I'll tell you there isn't any, even though there is. It's absolutely there. Well, okay. Well, how is a hill that's higher than the Blackpool Tower lower than the Blackpool Tower?
Why wouldn't it be at that distance?
Because there's no reason ever for that to happen. That never happens ever in anyone's experience
always,
ever.
Everywhere.
It's just made up.
Welcome to the globe, Brandon.
It happens on it happens in Zanic's picture. It happens all the time.
Think about the argument. The argument is drop from horizontal. Just think wisely, and tomorrow debunk how can you see drop from horizontal.
60 miles of horizontal.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll present that on my show tomorrow night. That's no problem.
60 kilometers of horizontal, and then there's a drop.
Yeah,
you guys are just.
What's the problem? I don't understand what the problem is.
Brandon,
you guys think that means curvature. That's why you think you live on a ball.
Why don't you think that you need to explain this? Why do you think you can just say 2 words, optics and perspective, and dismiss it?
Well,
you cannot pretend. You cannot pretend that. You cannot pretend that that is anything even approaching reasoning.
I don't need to pretend. It's solid reasoning.
You're off your head, Brandon. Absolutely.
You are. You're deluded, and the curvature is in your brain, and you don't even understand it.
Yeah. That, of course, that's really so likely to be
there's
true.
There's no curvature in that picture.
It's so likely to be true that the picture that some random took on the internet, not a flat earther, not a globe earther, just some random took it, and this picture happens to comport exactly with the big lie. I wonder how that happened.
That's because you built your calculations around empirical observation and said, this is curvature. That's where you got the fucking
Well, then
from.
we would see this perspective effect all the time, everywhere, and we don't.
We do, actually.
Yeah,
at long distances. Yeah, we do.
We don't.
It's
just
everywhere.
And you know it.
Then Jem.
And you would have no means of determining if the Earth was flat, would you? Because what you're saying is, even though it's flat, I look at it flat. Everywhere I look, it's actually being curved by perspective.
There's no curve in that picture.
So you would have absolutely no means of determining if something was flat. Because
Well,
all flat things, according to you, because of perspective and optics, all flat things appear to be curved.
No, I don't see any curve in that photo.
Well, it's curving away. Okay, so how are the mountains? Okay, so how are the mountains that are higher than the Blackpool Tower lower than the Blackpool Tower?
Why wouldn't they be?
Because things that are higher are not lower than things that are lower.
Yes, they are.
How is this a mystery to you? No,
maybe if you say that they are more times, Brandon, you will keep believing the lie.
But that's what we see. I'm not denying what we see. I'm denying your interpretation of what we see because you have nothing.
You are denying what we see. You're saying that You're saying that something that is, I don't know what the numbers are, but what you're saying is something that is 600 foot tall looks smaller than something that is 300 foot tall.
Yeah, this should not be a newsflash to you.
Oh no, this is obvious. We see this every single day. Zanik talks about this all the time. He says the higher mountain in the background is higher, but it looks lower than the mountain in front. We've explained this to him numerous times. Ranty has explained this numerous times.
That's why I don't get why Ranty latched onto this picture. This is nothing new.
He was honest. He was
analyzing it honestly. I agree. I agree. It's nothing new. Miles Davis did a similar observation that shows exactly the same thing. So I agree. It's nothing new. However,
exactly.
it's not perspective and optics. And you're desperate, dude.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm not desperate at all. I've been taking this face on for months and months. This is why. This is literally what I spend most of my time studying. This exact effect. So I'll be happy to go over it tomorrow night. And I want you to acknowledge that when you look at that picture, you don't see any curvature, Jem.
What would something curving away from me be if I don't see curvature?
Like soundly.
You can't say it, can you? When you look at that picture, do you see curvature?
Yeah, I see something that is taller and should appear to be taller, appear to be lower.
That's your interpretation
about
what you see.
That is reality. What I look.
Reality
that is not an interpretation of what I see. The hills are taller. The Blackpool Tower is smaller. The hills appear to be lower than Blackpool Tower. That is not an interpretation of what I see.
No, that is what you see, but you interpret
that is what you see, Brandon, also.
That is what you see.
No, that's what you see.
That's what we all see. We all see. The mountain's lower than the
Blackpool. We all see that, but he's saying that you interpret it.
Meaning there's curvature, but we don't see curvature in that picture.
Right. The atmospheric conditions. No.
We only see an object taller than another, lower in the distance, when it shouldn't happen if you know perspective and optics. It shouldn't happen, but if you got new rules of physics and perspective, please bring them on a Monday.
I will
listen to it.
I would be happy to. I've got some work to do, but I did come here for a purpose today. I need to say that I have to, unfortunately, apologize to Queen, even though she's not here. I'm sure you can pass the message along, because I was unable to find any evidence of her telling people to kill themselves or commit suicide, even though I could have
heard about that
before.
That was disgraceful. Why did you make that accusation in the first place?
Because I thought that I had seen it before, and perhaps I mistook another worthless troll for Queen.
And it
wasn't her. I could have sworn I've seen her say that, and if evidence does come up, I'll bring it back. But as of now, I was unable to locate it, so I do need to apologize.
Nice apology, and calling her. Calling
it's not really an apology when you call
it. Hold on, it is an apology. Don't. You know, at least he's saying he's right. He could have just said nothing, couldn't he? Yeah. Just let it ride. So give him a break.
Okay.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
When's the show, Brandon?
Has Brandon commented on the Ranty thing yet? Because I was AFK.
Tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 GMT.
He's going for optics and perspective.
Like you said, he's got a lot of work to do. Fucking earth, he's got a lot of work to do.
That's going to be 2 hours. 2 hours of making shit up. 3 hours of making shit up on your show on Monday, Brandon. It's gonna be funny shit.
It's just like it's an all-encompassing excuse. Optics and perspective.
It's not an excuse. That's a matter of perspective.
He's just making shit up. It's not an excuse. He's making shit up.
You're right, Ozzy.
The thing is, though, when you're as invested as people like Brandon are, how could you reverse on this? Very, very
right.
I'm invested. I would flip tomorrow if I thought the Earth was a globe.
No, you
Earth's a globe.
I mean, you think about it, Brandon. You think about all the things you've said, all the arguments you've been in over this, all the time that you've spent on it. If you were to come up with something tomorrow that was completely compelling, that showed you the Earth was a globe, you would feel absolutely ridiculous. You would have your fists stuck in your mouth for the rest of your life. You would feel so stupid.
No, I'm sorry.
It's not going to be an easy thing to do a flip on for
no, that's not true.
For most flat earthers, and particularly for someone that that's now a face.
No, that's not true. I've been wrong many times in my life, and I think people have a right to be wrong, and should speak their mind and what they think is the truth without backlash. And if they change their mind, that's fine.
Is this the man that inherited Ranty's channel?
Yeah.
But you got duped by a load of nonsense on the internet, dude.
I really have it.
And, I like how they project the person.
Sorry. Super chat. We are bringing the points, the hottest subjects, the hottest topics. You want to read it, Gem, or you want me to?
Shipples Phoenix says, imagine being given a flat Earth Discord and channeled by a person who then becomes a glober again. Brandon, who is left with denial. What hides the 330 to 350 meters? Explain it, and you would be the first. So, well, I think Brandon plans to do that on his show tomorrow, and we shouldn't expect him to do it, perhaps, on the spot. Although maybe we should come in here guns blazing, telling us that we can't see any curvature. But I'm prepared to wait till tomorrow for that.
Yeah. Fair. And I am gonna contact Ranty today because I saw him in a chat box a few days ago before he did the stream with Cats. And I said, Ranty, let's sit down and talk about this stuff. He said, yeah, I need to do some stuff. Let's talk on Monday. So I'm not sure, but I'm going to try to contact Ranty. And maybe, just maybe, tomorrow he will be sitting down with me on my show. Maybe top of the show, half an hour or so.
You're going to eat off Ranty now, the Globers. Going to make money off Ranty now.
Nice. That sounds good. Hopefully I'd be able to be there for that.
Yeah, well, we all want to make some money off Ranty.
So is the claim?
It's a golden flat Earth opportunity.
So is the claim we now?
Hopefully, I can make really good friends with him and get in with Sam High. That's my main goal.
So the claim is that we now have the second person that's photographed the curvature of the Earth besides Soundly.
Oh my God!
Oh, and
no, David, but
Miles Davis as well. Did you forget about them?
I photographed the Earth.
And TT.
Thanks, David.
I'm gonna have to reboot this fucking server. Bollocks.
What's happened?
Yeah, it's just I don't know. The sound seems okay. There's the odd buffer for a second or two, but the video is very choppy. Not that really matters that much, but
try switching regions.
It's not here, not this server. It's the YouTube.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well, Kimo is a drop from horizontal. It's the same argument. Look at my lighthouse. In the thumbnail, you can see that the lighthouse should be seen, or the whole thing should be seen above the water line, above the horizon, but we only see the top half of it. It's the same argument. We all been getting this observation over and over again. And shout out to Ranty because he actually did mention me in the stream. He said, it's not just this. There's a few observations. There's the Jose Lighthouse. There's the Miles Davis thing. He mentioned a few things and actually got a shout out. He mentioned the Jose Lighthouse because I know he analyzed it and he talked about it, but I know in the back of his brain, he said like, this is fucking, this is crazy, this lighthouse. How am I going to be missing the bottom half of the lighthouse?
You guys do realize that the Earth has never been measured vertically.
Fuck up, David.
What does that mean?
Why do you not like that?
Meaningless.
Like you do not, like you believe. Why is it that the Earth has never been measured vertically? That the curvature
because nobody knows how to do that because no one knows what that means.
So you don't think that there's a way of measuring how high?
David's been going about true vertical for the last fucking umpteen days, and he's continued to tour us with it right now.
Exactly. It's just like a building in the distance. We can tell how tall a building is in the distance, right?
Yeah.
We could take it. We don't have to take a physical measurement to know how tall something is, right? Do we agree with that? I've been putting images in the chat.
Well, you can use trigonometry, yeah.
Yeah, just stand there in the corner to measure.
So where is the vertical measurement showing the curvature of the Earth? There is none. This is the problem. When you
look,
does that
mean?
Why is there no science on the vertical measurement of the Earth? Why is there
what does that mean?
Why? You say there's curvature. The number one way to measure curvature would be vertically.
That's what surveyors have done for hundreds of years.
No, there is no measure. When you look up true vertical or any of these things, it's all about in a hole. It's not got anything to do with the curvature of the Earth. There is no measurements of the Earth vertically curvature. You understand that?
Were we done with whatever we were talking about?
It's all done horizontally.
I mean, it's if we're ready to move on, that's fine. But I feel like David maybe just kind of trampled all over what we were talking about.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Deliberate
Yeah,
distraction.
you guys don't want to admit. You guys don't like it. When you're science, you have no science for the curvature of the earth. There is no measurement. There's no one ever went out with a stake and said, here's the first 8 inches, here's the next 32 inches, here's the next 84 inches. No one's ever went out, stuck a stake, took a picture, said, here's where the curvature starts. Now, have they ever done it?
Yes. Fuck off.
No, they haven't. Not one damn time.
David,
David, you're talking crazy, dude. Just come on, man.
I mean, I don't got that, but I got a photo showing curve.
It's like chemo. It's just like chemo was saying. We're waiting on the measurement. We've been waiting for 5 years for a measurement.
No, you're not. No, you're not waiting on it, David.
We're waiting for you to carry a guy out 3 miles every mile.
David, if you were waiting on it, if you were waiting on it, you would go find the examples of people saying that it had been done, and you would be here telling us why those don't count.
Okay, well, just put it in the chat. Me and Chemo right now
No,
will become
David.
David, we will
if
become
you were,
earthers. Chemo even said it himself. He said, just show us the measurement of the curvature with an actual physical measurement, and we'll both.
David, you stop for a second, please. You're just screaming.
Oh, bollocks.
Yeah. I'm gonna flip the YouTube stream now. It should stay intact. It did yesterday. If it doesn't, just refresh the page until you get a new stream. We'll be right back. But hopefully it'll stay where it is. Thank you very much.
All right. David, if you were sincere, if any of you were sincere, you would have found this research already on your own, and you would be bringing it to us, telling us why it's no good. But you're not doing that. You're not even aware of its existence, and you're in denial. That's it.
So what was the name of the guy that went out that was in the picture that was with the ruler showing the 8 inches? Where's he at? Where he walked out in front of a guy with a camera, and then he walks out there and he goes, look, there's the first 8 inches of your 8 inches per mile square. And then he just keeps walking.
That was Newcomers from the Romans.
Who?
Yeah, George Natchez did that.
Why do we always go back to ancient Rome? Why is that? Do you guys have a fascination with toga parties or something?
Yeah, it was a guy who had
that was a good one, David.
Why don't you just show us the measurement of the earth? Show us the curvature.
David, we go back to the Romans because this shit's been figured out since then.
The year's 2021. All we're asking you to do is get a guy with a ruler, walk out a mile, and show us the first 8 inches. I mean, you can't even show us the first 8 inches of drop. Think about that.
George Natchez.
Oh, he did it with you're talking about when he did it on the ice thing, and then when we called him out, he said, George, why aren't you looking even with the line? And he's looking over, he's like 4 foot over, looking down. Yes, we remember George. And you know how y'all all kicked George out of here too.
Well, so I mean, just because George is a boring cunt doesn't mean he's wrong.
We didn't kick him out.
George,
we didn't kick him out. Yeah,
George is too smart for his own good. Was what the problem is.
Yeah, that is.
Nobody's ever accused you of that, David.
Though. Yeah.
Power of the 8 inches. Sorry.
The claim is that there's the curvature of the Earth is available for all to see, but no one ever sees it.
Yeah, Jesus Christ! When we see it, and then you say you're not seeing it; it's something else. It's optics and perspective.
I don't want to see a picture from space. I want to see it on the ground.
Yeah, well, you've got one, and we're being told we're not seeing it. It's optics and
perspective. David, in the chat, I just posted in the chat. What's that? What are we seeing here?
Let's look. Hold on.
What is that?
Hold on. Let me. There's got a plumb bob in it. Hold on. Let me look.
Plumb bob. The fuck.
Some people say plumb bomb.
plum bum.
Plum bum.
Well, plum bum is the Latin word for lead, which is where all these lead-based things get their name from. Like
seems like the flat earthers are on serious damage control after this one.
Stop calling me bum, guys.
They really are. They totally are, aren't they, people?
I already clipped my beard.
I'm glad you think that.
I already clipped my beard and cleaned myself up. Don't call me bum anymore.
Well, you got to understand, we've seen this before from Jose, from Sean, from Sheeple. This cannot.
You need me to post it again, David?
This cannot rock the boat in any way. Now, Ranty said that he loved being a flat earther. Okay, so again, the reason why you love being a flat earther is because it's easy to knock down the globe earther arguments. Now, Ranty said he's a globe earther and he will retire, quit, give it up, because he knows what's coming. You're not going to enjoy being a globe earther having to answer these
questions. I'll just post it for you again, David, so you don't have to keep scrolling up. I'll tag.
You might enjoy it. Jose enjoys it.
Yeah, you enjoy being a flat globe earther because you feel that you can defend the globe, whereas Ranty is like, whoa.
No, I actually, if you hear me, I barely defend the globe. I'm not a flat earth debunker. I'm not defend the globe. I enjoy the topic. I enjoy talking about earth and physics and math and science and all that good stuff. I enjoy it.
No, you enjoy it because you know.
You haven't even looked at the stream where they analyzed the photo, have you?
You enjoy it because you feel that you can defend the globe. Ranty doesn't feel like that. He feels it's going to be an uphill battle to explain.
I don't. I don't have to defend the globe. The globe is what it is. What it is.
You don't debate
if you would like to, if you can continue denying reality, that's your prerogative. I enjoy listening to people like you denying reality.
No, you make money, Jose. That's why you do. It's not for the love of hearing people. You do it for the love of money. Okay. If there was no money, you wouldn't do it, Jose. Right?
Does Ranty pay for you to make claims about him and for him?
No.
Okay, then maybe shut up, or?
No, of course not. We're going to give our opinion on the state of affairs.
So I can talk about you then. So Chemo says that he has cognitive dissonance and he's afraid, so he has to just babble on all the time.
Okay.
He's afraid.
What we're asking for, and me and Chemo are perfectly clear. If you'll show us an actual measurement of the curvature of the Earth, we will become your followers. We will bow to you, to your ball Earth God. Okay, all we're looking for.
You don't have to do none of that, David. All you have to do is be honest with yourself and open your mind to possibilities. Don't get your mind so close into the flat Earth. It's not the only thing that is.
Jem, let me ask you something. If
David,
Ranty,
do you have to know how tall a house is? Do you have to see it measured to know that it's taller than you?
Sorry, Lewis, you're gonna have to turn me back up. But Jen, let me ask you something now. Do you think he would have made this decision if he and Anthony were still friends, close? He's in a pod?
No, I don't.
There you go. There's your answer. So he's hanging around with conspiracy.
Well, no, the answer is, but this is where it goes, Chemo. People get involved in this, and they like being part of this community, and that makes them abandon their reasoning for who knows why, but they do. And Ranty's a person where he's gone through that process, and then along comes Riley with a court case and Roxanne and all that shit and all the crap that goes with that, and all of a sudden he's not part of that community anymore. Right. He's only part of some of it. And what's more, a load of other people who can see the unfairness in all of this, who are on the other side, who are supposedly his enemies, that they all rally around him and say, actually, Ranty, we think that you were badly treated there. You know, we were the first people to do that. It wasn't you lot that were doing that. It was us that was doing that. And that helped Ranty to see some sense.
My point is that if you can't see...
But my point is, this is about the community and what that gives to people. And it's not about the evidence.
No, it's not about evidence. It's about that he's fallen out with Anthony, and him and Conspiracy Cats would have been in each other's ears, saying, oh, Anthony this, Anthony that, Anthony this. And then, obviously, if they're working together...
Anthony's a vile person who has a lot to answer for.
That's not a reason to be a Glober.
Slanderous, vile things to almost everyone he interacts with. I mean, if you look at his channel, I think has it gone now, or is it still there? But it's just video after video with in the titles calling people liars, selling, all just, insult after insult in the titles. I mean, dozens of them.
He doesn't have a chance anymore. It was gone after he
said
it went relative density. Yeah.
I mean, he has a lot to answer for. People should be talking about him behind his back.
No, but I'm just saying, if they were still close, Nathan, Anthony, Ranty, we would not see this at all. So we can see the decision is based off emotion, not logic and measurements and practicality.
Logic.
It is the total opposite, Kimo. If they will be together, Ranty, Nathan, Riley, they will be pressuring each other, the friend pressure, the friendship zone, the community feelings will be involved in it. But now when Ranty is doing his own thing and following his own path and analyzing it on himself without too little flat earthers in the shoulders, no, let's talk about this. Then Ranty found the actual truth, No,
that didn't happen like that. So Ranty stepped away from Nathan because he wanted a different type of platform where ball earthers could speak, which is what happened. It was successful. Brandon took it over nonetheless.
Well, hold on a minute. Where they really fell out was when he asked Quantum Eraser to provide evidence for something he was saying. And Quantum Eraser resisted that and just kept arguing with him and wouldn't do it. And that was where that was the straw that broke the camel's back there. It was because Quantum Eraser was not being honest. Yeah, he was preaching one thing and doing another.
No, but my point was that he broke away not because of he wanted to be a baller, but because he wanted his own platform, which he had. And then
I'm glad you reminded me of that. That's another point where he lost part of that community that he was part of. All of a sudden, a big chunk of it, all the people that was associated with those idiots, were no longer his mates.
I mean, I'm just.
It's no wonder, is it, that he dumped you lot. You treated him like
it was
shit.
It's emotion. Like I said, all that's happened to him to me, it's like, take that. I'm going to be a glober. And I could imagine me doing the same thing if I'm upset with the community that I'm in. And how do I get them back? Which is to throw everything in their face and just become a glober. Because now we have to, like you say, argue with him, go against him, and all that kind of thing. When if we think logically, it's not based on practicality.
You wouldn't be able to do that. You wouldn't be able to.
How to do what?
You wouldn't be able to go against your true beliefs.
No, I'm saying that Ranty put it on emotion.
Yeah, you're saying he's going against his beliefs. I don't think that'll work.
No, Ranty, he's measured flat. He's been out there and done it all. This is because
I agree with you, Kimo. I think he's doing it on emotion. Yeah. You're getting it. We agree. But I think you're all doing it on emotion.
No, we do it on practicality.
And like I say, when you're not getting the right emotional feedback, then it all falls away. And that's what's happened with Ranty.
Yeah, it's all emotional. It's to get the guys back.
It's all emotional for all of you.
What he's been through, because Ranty's got some stuff going on, and for them guys to pile on more pressure, supposedly, is going to be a lot to take. And the best thing to do is to separate yourself from those people that you disagree with. Join another community where you can, socialise, have community, and be seeing the results. To me, this is absolutely inevitable. You could see this coming. Not because he believes it's a ball, because he didn't want to talk about the ball. You ask him about measurements and all that kind of stuff, I don't want to talk about that. This is purely down to slap in the face to say, look, I'm leaving as a glober, and this is going to be like the backlash of it. All on emotion, nothing practical. So enjoy it, really. Enjoy this turnaround, because it means nothing really without the measurement, right?
It shows you what's going on.
He shows you the measurements. Kimo, he's gone through it, him and Katz and everybody. So why are you sitting here lying through your fucking teeth?
What, he went out to Blackpool and measured the distance? No.
He's gone through all the trigonometry fucking measurements. Why? He even admitted that last night.
What, did he go to Blackpool and measure it?
Obviously, Chemo didn't watch the stream.
Yeah, I watched it. We watched it together. We watched. We went back. And Randy gave me a private viewing.
Yeah, they
more
don't.
detailed.
They hate going through the numbers and the actual analysis.
Randy gave me a more detailed analysis of the presentation that will be coming up soon. So again, this is purely.
Do you believe the Blackpool Tower is not as tall as specified?
I'm not on about that. Did he make measurements practically in the physical?
Right. No, we have the measurements, and I'm wondering if you're contesting any of those measurements.
No one has measurements. You don't have measurements. No one has
Blackpool
measurements.
Tower is not known, and the mountains are not known.
Well, who's measuring?
I don't have to go measure the statue. I don't have to. Dude. Hey, it was me first, Scott. I don't have to go and measure the Statue of Liberty height on myself to believe that is certain height. I can fight with the height of the Statue of Liberty, Kimo. You don't have to measure it yourself, bro.
Yeah, but if someone says it's 10,000 feet and it doesn't look that high, why would you believe that?
All right, but it looks like it's specified. Nobody's contesting that, right?
It being contention, yeah? But because it's
Chemo, it looks exactly as we expected it to look when we're on the globe. It's just yet another data point that fits perfectly with the shape of the planet.
But this comports with a flat Earth, is what we also expect to see on
No, it doesn't. It violates the height of it.
We expect distant objects to be brought down at the horizon.
Not that much, though. Not that much.
We expect that, yeah. We can replicate that with an experiment.
No, we expect it to be less than this.
No, as a flat earther, we expect distant objects to be brought down towards the apparent horizon.
Less in magnitude than this.
What we expect
to be less in magnitude. Therefore, what you see here is not comporting with a flat Earth.
What we expect to see, Veach, is objects in the distance at the horizon be brought down.
I just addressed that like 4 times in a row. What's the point of repeating yourself? You don't expect it to be this much. Magnitude's wrong.
I wasn't able to finish. I said 1 or 2 words and you jumped in.
What I've said addresses it, so you should probably just address what I said.
Well, we've explained it. What we expect on the flat Earth is things to be brought down due to atmospheric conditions.
What did I say? What did I say in response?
You're saying that is what you expect on a model, on the globe model.
No. I'm saying that the magnitude is too small. What you see is not what you would expect to see on a flat Earth because the way in which it's brought down is far too much.
You won't know that unless you have a measurement.
No, you will know that by doing trigonometry.
In the real world, did you do that? Can you show us that?
Sure, anyone can. You can do it. In fact, you should do it so you can teach it yourself.
Yeah, I'm sure I can. You can.
Yeah, find all that in the stream that Ranty went through. He showed you all that you asked him for. It's been shown on the stream. Right?
On a computer screen.
Yes, on a computer screen, so you can learn.
Yes, I mean, if you want to go visit Ranty and sit down with him in a table, and he can show you the same thing on a screen, but personal, face to face, you can do that. It's the same shit.
So you take a picture of a mirage.
Listen to how desperate you are. Listen how desperate you are. You're literally getting to the point where you're saying, "Well, on a computer screen, I can't trust anything I hear." What are you saying? Like, how desperate can you be, Kimo?
Well, how do you know it's not a mirage?
Well, how do you know anything's not anything?
Because you measure.
How do you know you're not asleep right now?
Because you measure it.
How do you know you're not dreaming?
Because you can measure the hours you sleep, the hours that you're awake. You can measure it. You measure the hours.
Hold on, B-Ball for life.
Hold on, B-Ball for life. So, Veach, we can measure how long we sleep or how long we are awake.
No, you could be asleep right now and never know it. You could be measuring things in your sleep.
That would be a dream, what you're talking about.
Chemo, because Bev has gone out there multiple times and said, hey, this is exactly what it looks like all the time.
We expect that, yeah. That's what we expect on the flat Earth. It should be like that all the time on a flat Earth.
Realize
too much.
There's
magnitudes are wrong.
And something kilometers missing.
Yes, we expect that on a flat plane is what we're trying to tell you. We know that the horizon...
No, you don't. You're missing 300 kilometers.
No, you don't.
Because the horizon is not physical, we expect the buildings...
You're fucking spiraling, Chemo. You're so desperate right now.
We talked about this probably an hour ago, but Chemo, you're not actually in a position to know the atmospheric conditions cause things to go down the way they do.
Yeah, we have an experiment. I'm going to find that experiment for you now and post it for you now, where we can have objects disappear bottom first. Due to
hey, Chemo, on a computer screen?
Because we can't trust computer screens.
This is a video, not a photo.
Those are trustworthy.
What we're looking for is not this bottom-up disappearance. Is the top of the objects going below what they are expected to go down on a flat surface? I mean, following perspective rules, what we're looking is in the tops. If it's dropping lower than it should do, then you have to explain that. You have an issue.
We can explain that, and we will explain that. And it is explained. And it's demonstrated also, which I'm about to post in 30 seconds. Thumbs up. I'm going to show you this is not
can't trust it. It's on the computer screen.
This is not something that is unique, as Brandon's pointed out. I pointed out this is not something we haven't seen before. Zanik brings this up constantly on a regular basis.
I don't think it's something we haven't seen before.
Of course, but Ranty said last night he's never seen this observation like this before, ever.
Yeah, but for Ranty, this is an area that he's very familiar with. You know, that makes a difference. I think he knows these things well.
Let's be perfectly clear. Chemo is claiming that the video he's about to post,
which I posted,
is showing that the atmosphere is causing this miraging and obstruction.
Mm-hmm.
That's precisely he is explicitly stating that obstruction is caused by the atmosphere.
By the atmosphere, and we can demonstrate that with an experiment in the laboratory. Have our predicted cause to the effect. We're able to manipulate our independent variable. The experiment agrees with the hypothesis. So we go with the science, not what a person feels or thinks about a situation or observation.
All right, so what I think about the video you've posted is that it's full of a lot of misconceptions and things that are being blatantly misrepresented. As if they were one thing.
Do you have an experiment to back up what you're saying and show that my video is wrong?
Yeah, so you've got a picture of things moving across a tabletop and showing that they're disappearing over the top of the tabletop.
Flat surface and things disappear bottom first.
Right, the camera is not actually above the surface of the table.
But we're showing things disappear bottom first.
Yes, because the camera's not above the surface of the table,
and it's not because
the surface. So the surface of the table is blocking them, and you know, it's so This is beyond childish, Chemo. How many times have we had this exact conversation?
Well, we know that the obstruction is not physical. Flat Earth.
No, it is physical. And your table, it's physical.
The table is physical. The obstruction is not physical.
No, the obstruction is physical.
Well, the obstruction is what we call a thermal layer.
Chemo, how do you justify bending yourself into this knot? How do you do that?
We just go with the science. We just go with the experiments. If there were no experiments, then we're just talking poetry.
Chemo, you're hopeless, man. Like there's no point in arguing with you.
Nice song. Sing it, brother.
I've known that for a long time.
More poetry. Nice song.
More poetry. The number one hit the server for about 2 years now. No point in arguing with Chemo. It's kind of catchy tune.
Here's the bottom line. You don't have evidence that the atmosphere causes obstruction.
We could play music with what you're saying. It's like a song. There was no evidence, just singing. You're serenading.
The world. I have no measurement. I live on a ball. My ball is spinning.
David, the last time you came in here, I wanted you.
I have no measurements.
David, I wanted you to look at a picture the last time you butted into the conversation like that, and I posted it and tried to get your attention so that you would look at it. But unfortunately, as I was trying to be persistent, did he leave? Yeah,
I don't know. This could be a good point. I'm going to flip the server back now. It worked last time, so hopefully it'll be okay now. Looks like it's running smoothly.
Fair enough. All right. Well,
hang on. Once again, if it all goes tits up, just keep refreshing the page, and a new stream will pop back up.
I don't think anybody noticed, and the conversation moved smoothly along to something else Chemo was talking about, but Chemo muted me when I was trying to get David's attention, and I wanted to say now I resent that, and I think you should stop doing that.
Sorry, Lewis. Sorry, you couldn't hear me. Turn me down.
Oh my God. Did you not hear what I said? We've got two photographs from two individuals, the only two individuals on the face of the planet that have ever filmed the curvature of the Earth from the ground.
All right, David, I don't want to take too much time on this topic, but I just posted a picture and tagged you, and do me a favor and just respond to what I'm asking you. What is happening in this photo?
I just want to ask one question. It's Soundly's photo, correct?
No, this is my photo, and I want you to answer my question. What's happening?
Hold on, let me look at this other photo. Hold on. No, that is Soundly's photo.
I took that photo.
Oh, you went down there and took that photo.
Yes. What's happening?
So what is happening? You're taking a picture of a bridge from an angle that makes it look like it's curved.
So the angle's making it look curved. Okay, well, thank you for your input. You're a moron.
Well, you think that's physical curvature, so who's
yeah,
the moron?
Yeah, Soundly showed you his camera trick.
David, earlier you said there's no pictures of curvature. There's no pictures of drop. I've just shown you a picture of curvature and drop.
All right, so if I Google right now pictures of curvature of the Earth into Google, right?
Well,
if I Google
you could,
right now, there'll be thousands upon.
You could do that, David, but you don't need to do that. You could do it. You don't need to. I've just posted a picture for you right now. I took that photo.
Curvature of Earth. Can somebody Google the pictures of the curvature?
I just did, David. There are thousands and thousands of hits. 100,000 hits.
There are zero. Quit lying.
No, there are thousands and thousands of hits. I just did it.
I'm fixing to look it up. Hold on. Give me
You just asked me to do it. I just did it. Thousands of hits. Sorry to break it to you, buddy.
There are no pictures of the curvature of the Earth. Hold on.
Hundreds of thousands of hits, dude. I'm telling you, you need to go try it.
Laughing.
That backfired on you, buddy. That's called a backfire.
David is laughing.
David, this is a big.
Because he just got backfired on.
This makes you look really dumb, David.
Care because he's a troll.
Yeah, because up until now he looked quite intelligent.
Yeah, he was so reasonable.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like he needs to be told again.
He knows he's not dumb because he's just trolling you.
You're saying, if I understand you correctly, David isn't being genuine.
I think he is being genuine. I think Brenda might be underestimating his stupidity.
I might be. Let's see.
Yeah, I think he's laughing because
it's the flat Earth indeterminacy principle. You can never tell. You can never tell if they're just stupid or trolling you.
Here's the bottom line, David and Chemo. That photo I posted shows a curving bridge. If the Earth's a sphere, there is no explanation needed for that. If the Earth's flat, there is. And your explanation has absolutely no evidence behind it.
I mean, again, Lewis, science dictates replication, demonstrations. Demonstrable as well. Demonstrable and demonstrable. So look, the idea is that
and Jose and Soundly and Lewis have all fucking taken images from the relatively same location.
I'll just say one or two words here. I'm just trying to respond to Lewis real quick, and then I'll just leave it out there.
You are, but you're going to monologue, and I'm telling you that it's been replicated at least by 3 individuals that have been in this server.
No. But when we have a phenomenon in nature...
Chemo, I looked at pictures of curvature of the Earth, and I saw no measuring tapes in there.
Yeah, so look, when we have observed phenomena in nature, again, this is why I say we are the leaders of the new school, because we're going to teach, this will be the new way, and the only way. When we have observed phenomena in nature, we have to predict the cause. Yes.
Chemo, is this the new school where you said, and I quote, thinking is the way of the old school? We don't do that in the new school.
Oh, super chats. Again, we're really raising the roof today.
Yeah, told you you were just going to monologue, and I dealt with exactly what you said. You said science demands replication, and there's been at least 3 people in this fucking server alone that have replicated the same thing from the same area.
I'm not talking about that kind of demonstration.
Well, you need to.
No,
there was a super chat.
Of course,
there was
super chat.
There was a super chat. And it says 8-hour special of the chemo show from
and that's
JD.
for $4.99, Lewis. $4.99.
Yep.
You've been at this for 8 hours? Jesus Christ.
Well, look,
it'll probably be longer than that.
The people are thirsty. The people are hungry. They've been lied to their entire lives. And there are only a few people out there who are ready to challenge the giant conglomerate that is the institution of business.
Can I say one thing? If we change the word from if we change the word from picture to measurements of the curvature of the Earth, right? So if you go to measurements of the curvature of the Earth on Google, guess what you pull up? No measurements.
David, do you have to know? David, let me ask you this question. Let me ask.
Did we do the super chat?
No, read it again, Jamie. You should read it. You should read it. Yeah.
Okay, from JD, it says 8-hour special of the chemo show. Thank you very much for the super chat, JD. You should maybe bear that in mind, chemo.
That's what he wants, an 8-hour special of the chemo show. That's what.
No, I don't think. I'm not sure if he's expressing his support for that idea. I think he's maybe pointing out that that is what's happening in a place where that is not supposed to be happening.
No, that's not. Don't change his words.
Just bear that in mind.
No, he didn't say that. He said 8-hour special of the key. He's letting people know what's going on.
JD, can you clarify? You don't have to pay. Just please clarify. Thank you very much.
We want 8 more hours.
I'll be back. I'm on the phone.
Gotcha.
Jeremy, why don't you go to a special room for 8 hours of chemo? And if you can last the entire 8 hours, then I'll give you $100.
Oh, are you serious? I wouldn't even take that money. I should pay you for that.
What, 8 hours?
I wanted to ask David something. David, are you still here?
You think they got 8 hours of monologue?
Oh yeah, they do easy.
Yeah, easy. They could.
Definitely.
As long as they think there's an audience, they'll keep going. Period.
Even if they don't think there's an audience, he'll monologue to no one. It's crazy.
I've actually been in the room and heard chemo talking to himself for better than 2.5 hours at one time.
I know, it's so weird. It's like, what?
Well, if you were in here, he wasn't talking to himself. He was talking to you.
But you'll arrive here and he's sort of talking, and you're sort of like, wait, who's he? You look around to see who he's talking to. Nobody's really here. You'll leave. You'll come back in about 20 minutes later. He's still going. Who is he? I don't understand. Come back again later. It's crazy.
Yeah, but you know when you
right, Veach, you're killing the show. You are. We didn't get super chats because you were gracing us with your fantastic information and knowledge, Veach.
Right. People hate you so much.
We're losing the direction. We're losing the focus and the flow. We are discussing obviously RANTY'S conversion. We're discussing if there are any measurements. We're looking at Lewis's picture here, and all you're doing, Veach, at the moment,
getting in the way of people hating on you. I'm sorry.
Wow, let's focus on the most important.
I've been out of pocket. Did Ranty come back to the globe?
And we're Googling. You got to remember, we got to Google these things, and we got to Google pictures of the curvature of the Earth. There are many pictures with no measurements. Then you go measurements of the curvature of the Earth, and there's a lot of pictures but no measurements also. So can you please explain why there is no measurement of the curvature of the Earth?
How do you think we measure the Earth?
By the way, what's this about Ranty? I've really been out of pocket for the past 3 or 4 days.
Ranty has become a blow brother again.
Oh, cool.
He saw a picture that showed him perspective effects that were not compatible with the flat Earth, and he realized, holy shit, we're on globe. And it's real.
What image was that?
Blackpool Tower with some mountains in the background.
Was he looking uphill or downhill?
And chemo and the other fighters have been losing their mind, dude. Like, it's been
looking
crazy.
uphill or downhill?
What? So strangely upset by this. Shocking. Hey, David, I'm in the middle of a sentence. So just hold on for a second. They're so strangely upset by this. It's really surprising and kind of telling, to be honest. It's like I'm really shocked by how they are. I have no idea if it's looking up or downhill, but thank you for asking 9 times, David.
Was it an image like that?
I don't know. I can't see the showbox. I'm sure somebody will tell you.
Oh, okay.
Similar to that, it's ones that have been in the background.
As we proceed,
it's been posted several times.
To give you what you need.
Would you agree the only real picture would have to have a plumb bob in it?
No.
You would have to have in the image. You would have to have a physical plumb bob in the image to be able to physically take a photograph of the curvature of the
No, wrong.
Even if let's see them put a plumb bob on the space station.
No,
can we do that?
Wrong. What do you think plumb bob will do on the space station, Dave? What do you think would happen? Really, like, what do you think would happen?
It's gonna go down just like when the screw fell. It'll go right down.
What do you think would happen? Hey, Kimo, what do you think would happen if you put a plumb bob on the ISS?
It would go straight down, vertically.
Straight down. Which way's down? Which way's down?
Down is the opposite. There is only up and down when it comes to comets. So it would go in the opposite direction to. Well, we go in the same direction as the comet do, which is down. The comets come from up. The comets come from up above, and the plumb bob.
How does it know which way to go? It can't. It's inside the ISS. It can't even see anything.
The ISS is going around the flat plane, right?
No, it's around the globe, but how would it know where to go?
International Sky Station.
Yeah, but how would it know where to go?
How would it know where to go? It just flies around.
Well, it can't see anything. It's inside the ISS. It doesn't have eyes.
Radar.
How does it know which way to go?
Radar.
The plumb bob uses radar?
No, there was a pilot flying the plane around.
I'm talking about the plumb bob. I'm talking about the plumb bob. Keep up, Kimo, or step out of the conversation. The plumb bob in the ISS. Which way does it go?
So
He already told you it goes down. Down.
I know, but then my question is, how does it know which way is down? So that's the question that we've been stuck on, because you guys can't seem to understand that we're not talking about the ISS again. We're still talking about the plumb bob.
He's being silly now.
Plumb bob. I know. I don't know.
I'm not. Which way is down on the ISS is my question.
Same way it's everywhere. The same way it's down everywhere else.
It's not the same. What do you mean everywhere else? It's in orbit.
It's down towards the flat, motionless plane. Down towards the flat, motionless plane.
Yeah, down towards the horizontal there, Beach. The horizontal.
Down. Why is everything else that way? Why is everything else floating?
Under Veach's ideology, there is no gravity in space, so there would be no down. Under Veach's
there's no gravity.
What do you mean there's no gravity in space?
There's no gravity.
Plenty of gravity. In fact, the astronauts are experiencing about 99% of the gravity that we are. About 98%, something like that.
They're still downity in space, Veach. They're still downity in space in the studio that they're at in space. They're still down.
What did I just say? What did I just say? They're experiencing about 95% of the same gravity we are. So yes, agreed. The only difference
so the only thing that we disagree on, Beach, is whether or not it's downity toward the flat plane or downity in space.
You shouldn't interrupt me, I guess, because I was in the middle of a sentence. The thing that is different is that they're actually.
But you're not getting to the point. You're obfuscating.
Yeah, how would you know? I can't even get to the end of the sentence. One sentence. I mean, that's all we're trying to get to. One sentence of the period. The thing that's different is that they're also going laterally very fast. So they're falling laterally, and they're going laterally, and they're falling down, and they're doing that at such a high rate that's sort of equalizing that they're sort of ending up to fall around the globe, and so it's really free fall that they're in.
Yeah, if the Earth were a globe, that would be happening. Yeah. But the Earth is not a globe, so if you put a plumb bob in a, it depends on the medium, right? If you put a plumb bob in a zero G plane, what do you think is going to happen? Okay,
nowhere, anywhere.
It's going to find equilibrium, yes, and there will be no weight on that.
Going to float around.
There'll be no weight. You won't be able to weigh the plumb bob, right?
That's right. It'll float in a random direction based on air current or something.
Exactly. The idea that
which is what we'll do on the ISS also.
ISS flies around in a circle, right?
It's not really true, and you know it. That'd be so crazy if it did. I wonder how it would stay up there.
Like an aeroplane. Aerodynamics.
Yeah, but you can't have that much fuel. It's got to be up there for years and years.
Never heard of refueling?
What is it, refueling up there every single day or something?
When they cut the cameras is when they refuel. Well,
they don't cut the cameras, though.
They don't cut the cameras.
No.
They don't lose signal.
No, they don't lose signal. What are you talking about?
Talking about when NASA lose signal when they fly near the
Well, it just gets dark.
No, but they say we'll cut the transmission. We'll be back soon.
Maybe they used to say that when they had budget issues, but they don't anymore.
They don't cut anymore. It's 24 hours continuous.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The party never stops.
Emo, for you to claim that they refuel, you'd need to have some evidence. So how do they refuel? What's giving the fuel? Where do they refuel?
You've got to look at the footage.
Fuel stations.
Yeah, when they cut the cameras,
Shell.
everything's there. They cut the cameras.
What's there? There's fuel stations.
The refueling.
What's there?
So how are they all floating then? Why are they? How do they manage to do that?
Floating. They're flying in the air.
Yeah, but how do they all manage to float inside the ISS? You know, have 0G.
Got to fly the plane parabolic flights.
So they're constantly in parabolic flights somehow?
Constantly, yeah.
For hours at a time, somehow.
About the only way you could do that is if you were, say, falling around the Earth.
Yeah, I'm not saying the chemo's wrong there.
No, remember, all they've got to do in the Earth, all they've got to do is blow up a really big hole in the Earth. Yes, so it's extremely deep. And that will give them another 8 miles to compensate for.
Yes, that's true. That's a good point. By the way, this is my metric for when you beat chemo. Is when you get chemo, just have to resort to saying things like that. That's when you know he's saying, "I give up, guys. I have nothing else. I've lost. I can't think of anything else I can say."
What was this nonsense?
He wants to blow a hole. He says that what they've done is blown a hole in the Earth, so they can have a parabolic flight that lasts for hours as it goes down through the Earth.
Hours, a little bit longer. I think hours, just a little bit longer.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for conceding.
What?
That's how you concede, is when you say something so absurd, it's just pointless.
No, you said floating around. How do they float around? And I said they use 0G planes.
They blew a hole in the Earth, that's what you said. So they're flying straight into the Earth, all the way through to the middle, and down on the other side.
Yeah. Chemo, can I get your estimate for how long during this flight that is parabolic in your mind that these guys are floating? Can I get that just a rough estimate?
I think
is it an hour? Is it 30 minutes? What?
I think it's like 30 seconds to a minute, right? Or probably a bit more.
No, actually, they're floating for much longer than that, Chemo. How do you account for the hour-long streams where they're floating?
They cut the cameras.
How long?
They've got some very good, clever edits. I mean,
really? Is that what they do?
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Yeah, very good at editing.
But cuts are very important to you because
Hollywood.
Obviously, if you see a cut, that means that it's valid. If you don't see a cut, it's valid. Except for here, where you don't see cuts, but that's because they're very clever.
Hollywood do magic.
No, yeah.
So it's easy to do.
Doesn't really make sense, Jeremy. Yeah. This is how we know you're
You can do
They're
cuts.
perfect up until the point to where they intentionally make it bad.
Then why are you always asking for something with no cuts?
It's fruitless endeavor now because they can do cuts to where you can't even notice.
Then why do you guys always pretend like you want something with no cuts? You always say, "Well, I need something with no cuts." That goes from here to here. If you know that cuts don't matter, if you know that you can make cuts seamless, which we've told you the whole time, why were you asking for that?
No, I didn't say that. You see obvious cuts. Is what I'm
talking to Jeremy. Talking to Jeremy.
I don't ask for shit with no cuts anymore. It's a fruitless endeavor because we wouldn't even know.
Like as of 3 days ago.
We wouldn't even know if there were cuts because you can't see them.
I know, but 3 days ago you were asking for that.
Well, the counter contentions from the flat earthers is the photo editing, or stuff like that. Photo editing with parabolic flights on some level in a pool, that sort of thing. Photo editing, pools, parabolic flights, and some sort of mixture.
You guys are spiraling.
They're in a pool. They're in a pool without a suit on. Somehow with all the water photoshopped out for 90 minutes at a time. Interesting.
That's what he just said.
Masons have gills. You forgot that.
The actual astronauts are in some sort of photo studio on Earth.
Very
style, and they just photo edit them into the IS environment CGI.
Yes. The great thing about flat earthers is they never make claims they can't back up. They always just don't know. That's what their whole thing. They never say
wires
and
bubbles
to
back it up. The harnesses tugging on their clothes. The jig is up.
We've got wires and bubbles to back it up.
Anytime you want to present the evidence that you have for that, we'll be all.
We've got green screen glitches to back it up.
Presented the evidence. It's been, denied or poo-pooed and explained away very poorly. So we're definitely.
I've never seen you present any evidence in this regard.
There's no evidence that it's real. You can't verify it to be real. That's what we're looking for. Verification that it's real, not that it's fake. That it's real.
Kimo, show me that they fuel up the ISS when the video feed cuts.
Oh, we can only speculate about how they hoax us, right?
Ah, yes, it's not true. Okay.
We can't prove that it to be real, that it's not just a magic trick. You guys are getting
said
fooled
that it's
constantly.
real. They're refueling when the video feed cuts.
Yeah,
That's
there's
your
something
words.
up there. Why wouldn't they have something up there looking at the Earth? Of course they would. That's normal. But it's not going to be in space because things cannot go. The space doesn't even exist for a start. It's another medium. We don't know what that medium is. And rockets need the atmosphere to fly.
How do you know? How do you know anything that you're saying?
Science. Science gives us the knowledge and the information to move forward.
Okay. What science do you have that space is another medium?
No, that's speculation.
Oh, okay, so that wasn't science.
Yeah,
well, how do you
been
know?
there, have they? There's no effect. There's no observed phenomenon. How can you do science?
Have you tested a rocket in a vacuum?
Rockets in vacuum, yeah. We've never seen mankind has tested them.
Have you tested it?
We together, as mankind, has tested rockets in a vacuum and they do not work.
Okay, how can you show me one scientific study about rockets in a vacuum and them not work?
We don't even need science to prove that space has to be some sort of medium. For us to discover it scientifically, it has to be some sort of substance anyway. So for us to philosophically discover what, if anything, space is, it has to be a substance. It can't be a nothing. Otherwise, philosophically, it's impossible to discover what, if anything, space is. So already on a philosophical level, it has to be something for us to figure out what, if anything, it is in the first place. We can just solve that issue with philosophy.
Yeah, the new argument isn't going to be rockets in a vacuum. The new argument is going to be helicopters don't work in a vacuum.
They don't work in a vacuum. Helicopters don't work in a vacuum.
Yeah, that's true.
You got a helicopter on Mars.
Mars has a very light atmosphere.
Chemo's specific claim was that rockets need the atmosphere to work, and that's not true.
Then there is no vacuum anywhere if that's how you're going to define it.
Oh, no, it's not. Why do rockets need that?
I'm talking to Veach.
All right, Jeremy's talking. Whoa, Veach, can you stop making the room a mess? Jeremy's trying to ask you a question.
I'm not, Chemo. Hold on, I'm talking to Jeremy. Hold on. Mars has a thin atmosphere, Jeremy. It's not like the moon. It has
Mars has an atmosphere, Jeremy.
I mean,
well, you guys claim there's an atmosphere everywhere, then. So there's no vacuum.
I understand, Jeremy. Chemo was. We were in the middle of addressing something Chemo said, so it seems a little bit wrong to just change.
Oh my God, you're derailing everything.
I'm not derailing anything. You've derailed it, and Chemo's allowing the derailing. So that's what's happening.
Lewis. We'll come back to that point. But Veach is screaming and shouting, and we can't get him.
And by the time, listen, I don't think we will. And by the time we do, if we do, the people who had something to say will have forgotten what they wanted to say.
Fine, go. Just go there.
Our bad. We should have interrupted. My bad.
Chemo, my point was that you.
Oh my gosh. See?
Let Lewis get his point out.
Evidence. No science for your claims of science.
Chemo, you specifically. Yeah. You specifically said that rockets need the atmosphere to work.
Yes.
That's not. How do you know that?
When I say work, I mean to work around or move around the vacuum. That's what I mean by work. To do actual work, pushing and pressing and maneuvering work, actual work, will not work in a vacuum.
So you're saying. So what you're saying there is that science says the atmosphere is required for rockets to be able to provide thrust.
No, science. Your science says all kinds of things, Lewis.
Yeah, but you're saying there is science that says rockets will not produce thrust if they don't have an atmosphere.
No, your science says it works without atmosphere.
Chemo, you said
you're saying you only believe things that have science, and then you said rockets don't work unless there's an atmosphere, which means you're implicitly saying there's science to support that.
No, I've just said
And
your
you said that
science.
there's experiments showing that rockets don't work in a vacuum, Kimo.
There's no science that supports what you said about rockets requiring an atmosphere. There's no science to support that.
Yeah,
it just says that there has to be a medium. The only thing that necessarily follows is there has to be a medium of some sort, like, say, an ether, that's in the vacuum, not necessarily an atmosphere that we can breathe.
So go ahead, Kimo.
Yes, this is it. We when I say work, I'm talking about working, maneuvering around in a vacuum without the atmosphere. Let me say the medium.
How about sound? If sound can't move in space, right? Sound is energy. Sound is energy, just like fuel is energy.
David,
so if sound cannot travel, how can sound not travel? Sound doesn't travel in space, does it? You don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I would prefer by having a substance that burns and pushes against another medium. So you have a bit of a category error there.
Just interrupting the conversation.
What am I supposed to do?
You got David and Lemon skating big time.
This is perfectly acceptable behavior.
Meech is here also.
And get a mod and moderate it. Otherwise, we'd have the people you don't want to talk to.
All right, what's going on? Behave. Everyone behave.
So come on, guys. Lewis, please continue.
I'm waiting for Kimo to provide either a positive statement about what the criticism I've gave. He specifically said that rockets don't work in a vacuum, rockets will only work if there's an atmosphere present. And he's also said that he only believes things when there's science backing it. So ostensibly, that implies there is science backing the statement that rockets only work with atmosphere.
This is fallacious.
I agree, Jeremy. It is fallacious for Kimo to make that implication, which is exactly the point. Jeremy,
Lewis, let him respond, please. You let him get 2 words out, and you went all over the top of him. Go ahead.
Oh my God.
Jeremy going to talk about the feelings. Jeremy going to talk about his feelings. Let Jeremy talk about his feelings.
This is what we call a reversal.
What's wrong with Kimo responding? What's wrong with this?
It was a direct question for Kimo that he's waiting on a response from Kimo.
You know what the problem is? Kimo never responds. And
I'm not going to shout over people, Lemon.
And not respond. So just ignore him and let the conversation progress. I don't want to sit here all day waiting for Kimo to obfuscate. You know Kimo's an obfuscator. Let the conversation progress.
People, if you don't all stop playing this talking noise game, please stop this. Let Jeremy say what he's got to say, and then let Kimo follow up with a response to Lewis's question. Okay, go ahead, Jeremy.
I mean, this is a classic burden of proof reversal fallacy. Kimo saying the rockets don't work in a vacuum. You guys say they do, and now you're acting like the burden of proof is on him to provide some evidence that they don't work. This is nonsense. Go ahead, Kimo.
Yeah, so the claim is as stands. Yeah. So what I mean, Lewis, is you have a scientific theory that rockets work in a vacuum without atmosphere. There is no demonstration of this. There are papers that support this idea, as usual, but obviously we know that you need something to push off. Otherwise, you would have to show that you don't need something to push off, and obviously we can go forward. But right now, rockets need an atmosphere or some type of medium to accelerate off. Okay, that's
all right. So do you have any science to support that?
Yeah, this is the laws, Newton's laws. Yes.
No.
That is actually the opposite of ball.
You literally just said that rockets need something to push off of. All right. So what are they pushing off of?
In space, nothing. They just fly around in a circle.
Yeah, in the atmosphere, what are they pushing off of?
Off the atmosphere.
Okay, that's not true. What science do you have to support that?
In a vacuum, they do not operate.
So that's not evidence to support rockets push off of the atmosphere, which is specifically what you said.
And he specifically also said that he has science saying that rockets don't work in vacuum.
Yeah.
He just said they don't work in a vacuum. He has evidence of that.
No, he said our science says rockets can't work in a vacuum.
Because remember, the ones
also just said very plainly, rockets don't work in a vacuum. That was his answer the last time.
Where's your scientific evidence going?
He's all over the place. He's full of shit.
Well, hold on. What is the scientific evidence?
He's also explicitly said that rockets do work by pushing off of the atmosphere, which is also entirely unsubstantiated.
Rockets work outside the atmosphere. We know that, right? We've seen rockets operate.
He also tried to imply that rockets working only in atmosphere is a consequence of Newton's laws, which is incorrect.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Make a list. Make a list. He won't address a single
Try to
issue.
listen then. I'm trying to answer, but you all talk at the same time. So, rockets...
Your answers don't address the questions.
Well, if you try to put a rocket in a vacuum and make it maneuver, fly around, it will not fly around because it needs some way out.
How do you know that?
Because there's nothing for the rocket to push off.
And we're just going in circles here.
How would it create motion? What would it push off?
Unsubstantiated claim after unsubstantiated claim. Counter to known science.
So if you put like a little helicopter in a vacuum, they don't fly.
We're not asking for the conclusion anymore. We're asking for the evidence that you have for it. The reason why you think it's true. The scientific evidence. The paper, the experiment, the whatever you did.
I've just told you Newton's laws say there has to be equal and opposite
reaction.
reaction.
Newton's third law says the opposite. Newton's third law says that you don't need something to push off of.
Newton's third law, Kimo.
So we're talking about equal and opposite reaction. When that rocket moves, there should be an opposite reaction, and it needs something to push off.
Tell me, Kimo, what is people pushing off? The air?
Then what?
People, you see the picture people posted?
I can't say it. What do people push off?
B-ball for life.
B-ball.
B-ball.
Yes, he posted the picture. See him push the ball?
Yeah.
What he's pushing off?
B-ball, yes. So, if he does that in mid-air, he won't go anywhere. He needs the ground to push off.
No.
Yes.
He's not moving into the ground.
Well, if he goes off the ground, let's do it when he's jumping out of an aeroplane and see how far he moves.
B-ball has the best evidence. He has the best little bits of video for everything. Congratulations, B-ball. You're very good at it.
Is that actually B-ball doing that?
If it is, nice.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, but without the ground, look how he puts his feet on the chair, and then he pushes off the ground. Without the ground, he cannot move.
He was hanging from.
By putting it on the chair, he's avoiding that.
No, the ground. He's sitting on the chair on the ground. He's connected as
You're
one.
seeing the GIF loop. Look at the point where he's drawn his feet up and he's static and he's pulled the ball back to his chest.
All connected to
feet
the chair.
are on the ground. Then he ejects the ball and the chair moves backwards.
As we expect.
Then the GIF loops and then you see his feet move from in front of him to back onto the chair.
But if he did that in the air without the ground, he wouldn't move.
Of course he would. He's doing it right there.
But go in midair and do that.
You can. Have you never skydived before? You've never skydived.
Oh, you see people push a ball and then they fly backwards, yeah? Like the cartoons.
Well, yes, if you pass a ball between you in midair, you will push back.
This is the fucking retardedness of what you're saying, Kimo, which you full well know, is that if you were to try to do this while skydiving, you wouldn't be able to measure it in the first place, which is exactly why you're bringing it up.
Yeah, we need to drop people in a vacuum chamber.
But the truth is, you really will move, and it is a big deal, and you can measure it because people will lose formation and not be able to hang on to each other.
Mm-hmm.
It is very important that you understand how Newton's third law works when you're skydiving because it actually affects you. You will drift away from each other very quickly if you fuck up.
Yeah, but you're not drifting away because you're throwing objects and changing your momentum that way. You're drifting away because you have disproportionate drag on your body, and that
creates... sometimes it's because you're throwing
law. Hold on, guys. When you're done with your circle jerk, Newton's laws don't apply everywhere. We know this.
Well, where does it not apply, Jeremy? Does it apply in space?
Does it apply during a skydiving? You fucking retard.
It applies, Jeremy. It applies both.
Jeremy, are we describing something at the atomic level, something moving at relativistic speeds, or something the size of a galaxy? If no, then Newton's laws are a perfect way to use this.
This is just.
If you want to know if the ground, if you want to know if the ground was involved in Beeble's test, is to put a scale under the chair. If that reads a pressure,
you can see it's not involved. If the scale reads the pressure, not on the ground, there's no way for him to interact with the ground.
If the scale reads the pressure when he throws the ball, you know that he's creating a force. Now, without
that, you can see that he can't create a force. If he's not touching the ground, he can't create a force.
But I'm saying, if his chair was on a scale, like the floor was a scale, and then he did that, the scale would read something. The force that he created.
You don't need that, Chemo. Just look at what his feet are. He can be manipulating the ground.
Without the floor, he wouldn't be able to measure the pressure that he's created on the floor.
I get that you need this to be true, but you're being absurd. If you look at his feet, he can't be pushing on the floor.
But the chair is creating a pressure on the ground.
He's not creating a lateral movement. There's no way to do that.
Yeah, but without that pressure on the ground, he does not move.
Let's control the independent variable here.
It actually slows him down, Chemo.
But again, without the surface area to press off, there is no movement.
Let's control the independent variable. You think if he threw a balloon,
equal and opposite
full
reactions,
of air, a
that's
balloon,
the point.
Chemo, do you think it will push him back?
Look, there was an equal and opposite reaction, and we can measure how much pressure he created by measuring how much pressure he pressed on the chair.
Doing it laterally, you retard.
But
do you actually believe what you're saying?
He doesn't believe it. He just
all I'm interested in is the pressure points. The pressure points.
So if
did he create pressure?
He can't put any kind of lateral force. The only thing that's causing him to move sideways is when he throws the ball.
I don't care about that. All I'm interested in.
Causing him to move. Then that's a proof that
not interested in that. Did he create pressure?
Far more than he displaces.
Well, if he created pressure, that's what I'm interested in. The pressing, the push, that's what gave him the movement.
It doesn't do with pressure. You need lateral force, and he has lateral force by throwing the ball. That's it.
Yeah, well, unless he has that pressure, he will not move.
Pressure keeps him from moving. Pressure is something he has to overcome in order to move.
Well, do it in midair and let's see it.
It'll be easier in midair, as I've told you, and you can just look it up, or you can.
All he's got to do is jump off a box, throw the ball, and he should go backwards.
It does.
Yeah, so let's see it. Why did he do it on the chair? Why did he waste our time by doing it in a chair, just not jump off a Why did he just jump off the chair? Jump off the chair.
You can see there's no other force. There's no other source of motion.
Yeah,
why you
jump off
the
chair.
You don't need to see it in midair.
Just jump off the chair.
You can see it in the clown suit too, and that's not going to change anything. It'll work in the clown suit. It'll also work. It'll work in every state in America. You don't have to do it in every state in America, but it'll work in every state.
Jump off the chair and throw the ball, and then see if he moves backwards. That's all.
But your random arbitrary criteria are not interesting. He's done everything he needs to do to demonstrate what his point is.
He's done nothing apart from show there is pressure on the floor.
No, pressure on the floor is hurting him from going backwards. So how is that showing?
The pressure on the floor is constant, Chemo.
Similar to how you never proved that rockets require atmosphere to provide thrust. You're not showing that him putting pressure on the floor is causing him to move.
Yeah, because if he did it in midair, there would be no movement.
But you haven't shown.
You're spiraling, Chemo.
You haven't shown that him putting pressure on the floor is causing him to move.
Yes, because
if
we put a scale.
Moreover, we're always putting pressure on the floor, but we're not always moving. Why is that?
How can a very vertical pressure cause you to move laterally?
Because we're looking at the pressure points. Where does the equal and opposite reaction come from?
Let me ask you, Chemo. If I show you this happen in midair, would I have to do it in a vacuum after it, or that will be the end of it?
No, you would show that you're pushing off the ball.
No, I want to know if that will prove it, or I'll need to do it in a vacuum after it.
You're trying to demonstrate you're pushing off the ball, yeah?
Don't tell me what I'm trying to demonstrate. I'm asking if this will be shown to you, done in midair, would it need to be repeated in a vacuum?
Well, how are you going to do it in a vacuum? Get an astronaut suit?
I'm asking you because...
He's asking you, if he were to show you this from midair, would you accept that, or would you require a further step before you accepted it?
No, I'm saying, how is he going to get in the
Watch him
vacuum?
answer your question. He's going to answer your question with a yes or no. First time ever. Go ahead,
what does the vacuum
have
to do with this, though? He's red herring.
Oh, look at that. He didn't answer with a yes or no. That's so weird.
It's a red herring.
With a question. What a strange thing for Chemo to do. With a question that doesn't give us any information.
It's a red herring.
I think you need to go back to kindergarten, Chemo.
Where we can find rockets in the vacuum, hopefully.
You have an office chair in your house, Chemo.
That what B-Ball needs to show is jumping off the chair, throwing the ball, and then he should go backwards like in the chair.
No, what B-Ball's shown is completely more than enough. And just because you don't think it is, or because you're saying that it isn't, doesn't make it not true. It is. It shows you everything you need to know.
Because we're proving
your denial of it is hardly interesting.
We're proving him wrong.
You're not, though.
You haven't proven anything. You haven't even provided any evidence. You haven't even made a scientific experiment. You haven't
Why
done
would he
anything.
do it in the air, then?
Claim after claim after claim. You haven't even answered a question.
If he does it in the air, he will show that he's wrong.
Is your name
and
Chemo?
I'm right.
Do you call yourself Chemo?
If he does it in the air, he will show that I'm right and he's wrong.
Oh, look at that! You won't even answer the question of what your name is, for fuck's sake.
Just like BioDuel. If BioDuel does it in a vacuum, he'll see that I'm right and he's wrong.
Jeremy, you're there.
You're so good.
And people actually listen to Chemo and think that he's on to something.
People all over the world. People all over the world are listening to this information.
Have you ever done it in a vacuum, Chemo?
Been what?
What do you mean by on something?
Been what in a vacuum?
Have you ever done that in a vacuum?
Been what?
Oh wait, I'm gonna just get this straight. Did Chemo just obfuscate with asking you a question instead of answering? Again, how odd.
What have I
So
done it in a
you just asked somebody if they'd ever done it in a vacuum. So I'm asking you if you've ever done it in a vacuum.
Are we talking about Chikey or BioDuel?
Well,
are we answering questions, or are we going to ask questions that ask questions that ask questions?
Yeah. What were you asking them if they'd ever done in a vacuum?
We were talking about having dish, and then we were talking about throwing bowling balls.
When were we talking about? Wait, when were we talking about having dish?
When in doubt, just lie about something random. This is the Chemo's playbook. I'm going to start writing this down.
You should write it down. You might learn something.
It is
actually I'll tell you what we were talking about before.
It's probably a lot better than what you are writing at the moment for Hollywood.
The Dolphins are in the
you might even get paid for it. Jim gets paid for what I say, so why don't you write it down and get paid for it too? Yeah, I'm saying Jim gets paid for what I say, so why don't you write something down and get paid like you don't get paid for Hollywood?
So
I couldn't hear you, but I was trying to be absurdist, Chemo, and you were ruining
You haven't provided evidence that rockets require atmosphere to work to provide thrust. You haven't done that.
Yes, we have helicopters. We have other objects.
What the hell is that? What the hell does a helicopter?
No. Stop. Have you ever tried to fly a helicopter in a vacuum?
No, like a drone. Yeah.
Have you ever tried to fly a drone in a vacuum?
No, I've saw Action Lad do it and he failed.
Okay, but have you? Oh, great. So you know a helicopter won't fly in a vacuum in a video.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever tried to do it with a rocket?
No one's ever tried it with a rocket. It's too dangerous.
But so you haven't. So you're not actually in a position to say that it won't work.
Because it doesn't work. Otherwise, it would have been
done.
That's
fallacious. That's fallacious.
No, it's not fallacious. No, it's not fallacious, Jeremy. He is making the claim that it will not work, and he hasn't done it. He has no evidence to support that claim.
Well, I can claim unicorns
just
don't
going
exist
is fallacious. Doesn't give any points.
Prove that unicorns do exist.
It's not how it works, Jeremy.
Unicorns
It's not how it works.
You're being fallacious.
He's claiming a positive claim.
Oh my God! How many people are going to talk over me while I try to get that?
I don't know, 3. But if you're going to keep talking derp, it'll probably be more than that. Because every time you do that, people want to jump in.
By saying it's fallacious, you're not making any argument, Jeremy. So if you maybe want to talk specifically about the question, then you go for it.
They're not making any argument. Chemo's saying this shit don't work in a vacuum. They're saying
he's made a claim, Jeremy. He needs to back the claim up. That's as simple as it gets.
Claiming rockets don't work in a vacuum.
Just to
you
go,
guys are saying
just to go. I want to go down this unicorn example with you here, Jeremy, because the fact of the matter is, unless you know that you have seen every space in the entire universe and at every instant during it, you're not actually in a position to say that you know unicorns don't exist.
Okay, if we both have a position and I have a position of unicorns don't exist, aka rockets working in a vacuum, and you have the position of yes, unicorns do exist, aka rockets do work in a vacuum, then the burden of proof isn't on the person that's claiming non-existence. It's on the person claiming that there is existence of such thing.
That's not true. If you want to make a claim, if you want to make a claim, listen, Jeremy, this is about certainty. I cannot with 100% certainty say that unicorns exist. And you cannot deny their existence with 100% certainty unless you see the entirety of the universe.
So, the audience, I want to let the audience look up the fallacy.
Jeremy, you're
Hold
just
on a
wrong.
second. Beach, I was in the middle of a sentence.
Wrong. I know, but you're just wrong again.
I've said that.
Right, Veach, you're ruining the empire that we're built today. Can you?
I've seen this. I've said this a couple of times now, and I'm going to.
You don't have to speak in every conversation.
Just 1 second. 1 second.
Of course, I'm always talking. We've got information to give.
No. Can you just stop for a second? Thank you. There are two types of scientific theories. The first one are theories that have been proven false. The second one are theories that have not yet been proven false. Those are the only two types of scientific theories.
True.
I would go down this road with you, but you won't let me finish the sentence out, neither will Veach, so I can't be.
Well, you're wrong anyway.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're up to, but
guys, please let Jeremy speak, please. Go ahead.
Fair. No, it's too crazy, Jim. Maybe later or something.
Well, but you're dead wrong, Jeremy.
Do it again, Veach.
Chemo, back to you.
I didn't. That time I was careful the way.
Chemo, back to you. You asked.
Back to me now.
Yeah, listen. You asked to show you this happened in mid-air. I posted the video. Tell me if it's enough mid-air for you. Maybe you need it higher. Maybe you need it longer. Maybe you need different objects. What's your problem there?
Yeah, I mean, because we don't live in a container.
No. We don't live in a container now. Look at the video. Look at the video.
I see the ISS.
Is it enough?
The ISS. Yeah?
The ISS is bullshit. It's all lies. Tell me if it's enough mid-air for you.
Are you talking about the ISS video you posted?
I'm talking about the video I posted.
The ISS one. Are you talking about that one?
I'm talking about the Newton's third law of motion demonstrated in space.
On the ISS, yeah?
I don't know where it is.
Oh my gosh.
In space somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere in space.
So, what do you say?
Is that on the ISS or not?
Not enough mid-air. Well, what's happening there?
Is it on the ISS?
Does it matter where it is?
Yes.
The requirement was mid-air.
Yes.
You didn't specify where.
Look, I said off the ground, not connected to anything.
Yes, look at the video.
So they are connected to wires on the ceiling, hanging, dangling from the...
I didn't see no wires. Can you point the wires for us?
Well, that's the CGI wires there.
But Jeremy, Chemo's just made a very positive claim. Don't you think he should now provide evidence for it under your criteria?
So if you can show not the ISS, where they use Hollywood wires, if you can show in the real world, where like B-Ball for Life showed the real world, real chair, real floor, real ball, real human, no wires, and if you can provide something akin to that, that would be most grateful.
I saw no wires.
You guys need to examine your epistemology.
We are.
You're a retard. You're not.
That's what you think right now until the masses change their minds like Ranty and go back to the flat earth. Then what will you do?
I'm going to call you a retard again.
Oh, with all the masses and the children, the young people talking about flat earth. Well, that's fine.
That's not going to happen.
That's already happening, Lewis.
You're wrong.
The youngers are focused on the flat earth because they recognize space is not real. They're not going there. And it's not possible for a rocket to work. It's not possible for a rocket to work without the atmosphere.
What, you probably know like 6 kids.
No, I mean, there are a huge community. There's a family now. Families are involved. That means it's a generational thing now. Yeah.
There's low IQ families. We don't say that there isn't. But, I mean, you said that masses are moving. Rockets don't work in a vacuum. You have a bunch of claims and you have zero evidence for any of those claims.
No, we work together. We are working together. It's not a versus, me versus you. We together as mankind cannot produce a rocket flying in a vacuum.
The wonderful thing about epistemology is that everybody is free and does on their own decide it for themselves. And it doesn't matter how many kids you raise to try and be flat earthers. The ones that can will see right through it.
I hope so, Lewis. I hope the young generation, the next generation, either provide evidence, or obviously if it's poetry they're into, then so be it. I mean, people do like Shakespeare, right?
You're bringing poetry, Kimo. You haven't backed up any of your claims today.
Well, the claim is that we're told that space is a real place where rockets can actually maneuver around. Now, we obviously know there were no demonstrations to back up this wild, outrageous claim. So what we're looking for is a vacuum supported with a rocket.
Kimo, it's neither outrageous or wild. It's a demonstration of Newton's third law, which you are denying for some reason.
No, we need to see that in
Let
action.
it be outrageous and fantastic because Kimo lives afraid of stepping outside of the door.
Well, again, it's not about me, it's about the next gen. Now, you can think it's about me and think, well, okay, Kimo doesn't believe it, whatever, whatever. But what we're going to do is we're going to work very hard to ensure that the future of mankind is fully aware that you guys and others, other globe earthers, are not producing evidence to support their claim. Obviously, if you get them at the right time, they'll question these things accordingly. And we're very difficult to
how's that going to play out? All of these people, the vast majority of the world, they're not producing any scientific evidence. But what they are producing is a gigantic economy and products that you are unable to produce and don't understand yourself.
No, we'll be honest. We'll say, look, we're on the same level as the globe earthers. We can't show you real evidence. They can't show you real evidence.
You are certainly not on the same level. Kimo,
yeah, for sure. We'll say, look, we're in a position.
Wait, Kimo. By your own admission, you go by what is obvious. If we were only going by what is obvious and what can be told by looking at nature without using anything artificial, without using anything that man has touched, our world could not have progressed to the place that it is now. You and your lot are not in a position to say you're equal with globe earthers. You are Bronze Age idiots at best.
Further from the truth, we're the only guys who actually go out there and do the actual measurements and test the globe, as it were. Now, you just believe the calculation.
Exactly, you're stuck in the goddamn Bronze Age.
No, you've given us the information.
We're chilling out with satellite technology and fiber optics and all that, and you're piggybacking off it because you assholes are still stuck in the goddamn Bronze Age.
No, you've used your satellites and your technology to figure out the radius of the Earth. Done. Now, we need to go out there as students who, we're educated and whatnot. So we need to figure out now if what they've told us is true. Now, we can't just accept that. We have to physically measure that radius, that curvature, that drop, that horizontal, all those
So
things.
why are you still here, Kimo? Go out and do it.
It's been done. Me and Ranty have been out there.
No, it's been done by them, by us. You need to do it.
Me and Ranty have been out
there.
I like how he invokes Ranty, who is no longer a flat earther, as though that makes it better.
Ranty's trolling the borders. I'm letting you know. Okay?
Yeah, didn't you
know a lot about Ranty, even though you don't know anything about him.
This is their payback to Anthony and Nathan and QE and Arwin. It's like, hey, you guys, I'm going to get you back and say the Earth is a ball. Now, remember, if Ranty is a real glober, he would have real globe measurements. He doesn't have that. He has a picture that's from online. He didn't accept soundly, but he accepts it.
The argument doesn't even make sense from your point of view because you denied that we have any of those things as well, and we're real globers as well. So, what the fuck are you even saying?
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
You're so stupid.
It may seem like that now, Lewis, but
no, it doesn't seem like that. It is that way.
It does seem like that. It seems crazy that a few people have figured out that all of you guys.
Kimo, you sit here every single day denying that we have any evidence, and now you're saying that having real evidence is the only criteria somebody could be considered a glober.
What's real evidence?
You make no sense at all.
What's the real evidence that you have?
You are absolutely incapable of carrying a conversation.
Would you consider Ranty's photo real evidence?
You're not even responding in a coherent way.
He's right, Kimo, you're not.
Because Lewis is all over the place right now.
He's asking you a question. I think it's legitimate, and you're just ignoring it and saying something else, like it's just like he's not speaking.
Well, like I said, Lewis speaks out of shock, and in a minute or two he'll say, "Right, I've had enough of it. You guys are morons. I'm backing out. I'm done. Blah 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 blah." We know how Lewis rolls.
Chemo, it seems like that's your goal. Chemo, it often seems like it's your goal to continue to make more and more outrageous claims without supporting them, so that you can get away from conversation, because people get exhausted trying to chase you around in a goddamn circle because you refuse to answer anything in a
Not my
coherent manner.
claim, though. I'm asking you for a rocket in a vacuum. Why are we still talking about it? Just show it.
It's been provided to you so many times.
Well, then show it to me now, then. Show me a rocket flying around.
I'm not showing it to you again.
Well, there you go, then. So let's talk about it.
I think it's what I mean.
I asked you a
think
yes.
is bang on. 1 second, Chuck. I haven't said much. Lewis is bang on point. I mean, the whole thing he's talking about is the epistemology and the reasons you hold to a point of view, and every single point he's pivoted around has been based around that kind of discussion, which is why I've been enjoying it.
And all we're looking for is the evidence to back up your claim. Now, you claim that rockets can work in a vacuum. That is ludicrous. Provide evidence that a rocket can work and maneuver around in a vacuum chamber.
Chemo, that evidence can't be provided because there would be no medium there to prove.
Exactly.
What appears to happen in the videos is the rocket expels its gaseous contents into the container, and then the rocket can work in the vacuum where it could not before.
Precisely.
So I think
that's not what happened in the video.
There's not a large enough vacuum.
You want to deny the basic laws of motion.
Just hold on a second. I want to respond to Lemon.
How about it?
So, Lemon, what they
But
would
saying
need,
that a law of motion just works without nothing to work off of is highly mystical. And
what they would need to do, Lemon, is when the gas is expelled into the vacuum, they would need to suck it out at the same time and let the rocket fly around as the gases are being sucked out of the vacuum. That's what they need to show, but they can't show these kinds of experiments.
And Lemon, I mean,
Nowhere in
on your
Newton's
point,
third law does it say that it
um,
needs a medium.
Yeah, and on your point, Lemon, yeah, this has been demonstrated in many, many practical experiments. So I don't know why you think things have an equal and opposite reaction for every action when that's consistent everywhere. Why does just suddenly changing the medium we're in mean it no longer works? That I find very strange. Very strange.
Well, the mysticism that's really truly strange, even with that dress, is that to have an equal and opposite reaction, you need to have something to react. So if you're saying on one hand that there's no vacuum to react, or if you're trying to get around that by saying gas is expelled into the nothingness and then the rocket can work off of that, that's a little inconsistent. So there has to be something in there,
the atmosphere involved with
atmosphere that the rocket can work off of to do functional work and propulsion.
Can I ask a common sense logical question on this point?
Please, for God's sake, do curved.
Why?
What were you saying?
Why? Again, why is it assumed that in this needing air to push off of will give you any more, let's say, acceleration, thrust, movement than the resistance that air you're trying to go through would give? Why?
Because you need to have something to react. And if there's nothing in the vacuum, there's nothing to react. So the only other candidate would be some sort of air column. The only problem then is whether the shape of the air column is stable enough to provide.
How long is this senseless ramble going to go on?
This is why I didn't want to
invite you to the conversation
because the
conversation balancing act. Can you, Lemon? Can you seriously address that aspect of it? Why do you think you get more push than you would resistance?
Because you need to have something to react off of, and it needs to be stable and shaped well enough to provide.
Why would you get any more? Lemon, okay,
and
you're incapable of
question.
That's clear. I'll just let it go.
We can agree to disagree. We can agree to disagree.
Yeah, but you didn't.
No, there is no agreement to disagree. You're wrong.
Yeah, you didn't answer his question, Lemon.
I did. You didn't know how to apply my answer to the question.
No, the question.
Your answer is not to my question.
You need to have something to react to have an equal and opposite reaction. Otherwise, your response is mystical. How can you have an equal and opposite reaction if there's nothing to react to in the freaking vacuum? That doesn't make any sense.
That's not my question.
His question was, why wouldn't there be more drag than thrust from the atmosphere?
It's just the
Or
same
at least
thing.
an equal amount.
There's nothing to provide drag or thrust in the vacuum. The only other candidate would be an air column farted out of the freaking vacuum.
Atmosphere. I'm talking about an atmosphere, you dimwit.
We were talking about a propulsion.
You say
why
you
are
need
talking about
atmosphere to push off of. In that
You need a
atmosphere,
medium
why
or
would
some
that
sort
give
of
you
thing
any more
farted from
than
the
the
vacuum.
resistance? You fucking cunt.
You need a medium, therefore you need to admit that the vacuum is a medium, and or you need to fart something from the rocket that provides enough of a medium for thrust.
Wrong.
Where do you derive that you need a medium to produce thrust and that the momentum change is not sufficient?
Our everyday experience and our other experiments here on Earth with an atmosphere.
But how do you justify
So that's what we
that
see every
physically?
day.
How do you justify physically that somehow pushing off of air that's outside the rocket can somehow push the rocket?
Yet again, you cited equal and opposite reaction, therefore there has to be something to react. Be it a medium
the mass ejected from the rocket
or
is
something
what it's
farted out of the rocket for a reaction. So philosophically, what you're
Lemon.
saying has no
Oh my God,
tenability or any grounding unless you have something to react.
If I've
the
got
reaction
change in
doesn't just
momentum
occur
of the
mystically.
change in the
You need to have
momentum of
something
the
that
rocket
reacts
fuel.
to give you thrust. That's the point.
change in momentum of the rocket fuel is what is being reacted to. That's the opposite reaction.
Right.
It's
If I've got
pushing
a
the
combustion
mass out of
reaction
its
in the back
body
of a
and
rocket-
going
If
forward.
there's nothing to provide an equal and opposite reaction, what you're talking about is just sheer mysticism,
yeah,
where
and-
you
and
state
there is- and
just
there is.
because you
For
act, there will be
example-
some sort of magical reaction that just occurs. That's
No,
mysticism
there-
and magic.
there is
What is
indeed an equal
reacting
and
if there is
opposite
no
reaction.
medium in the freaking vacuum?
Yeah,
It's
I'll tell
not
you. So,
mystical, magical, or anything.
when-
the mass
when
being
there's
ejected from the
combustion-
rocket is what the equal and opposite reaction is.
when there is combustion in the back of a rocket, you'll notice that the fact that mass is ejecting out the end means that there's no like back wall to push off of. So it's pushing off when the thing explodes or controlledly explodes, when it's combusting in the in whatever fuel chamber there is, it's pushing the rocket up, left, right, basically in all directions because it's a combustion explosion. Except it's not pushing it down because there's a hole there where it can escape. So there's a upward force on the rocket because it is pushing in all directions except for down. That upward force is met with the equal and opposite reaction of the mass getting yeeted out the bottom.
That's correct.
Not magic.
Excellent use of yeeted.
The scientific terminology of eating.
Lemmy, still here?
Group of Yeti is also called a Yeti.
Not for long, I'm about to rage quit. What is it?
No, Lemon, come on, let's get it on. Let's get it out on.
I'm good. I need to spurg down. I'm sorry. I need to spurg down.
You're good anyway.
Sorry, Kerr, for being a bitch.
I doubt you're actually.
That was
sorry.
that was a very good summary, Emerald. That was spot on.
Thank you.
Kimo, can you do like Lemon did and say, "I'm sorry, guys, for being a bitch"? Go ahead, Kimo. Be a man for once.
You'd have to
Well,
say it
look,
while Kurt was
guys,
here.
you guys often need that reality check. You get distracted easily by what's at the side of us, okay? And as long as we keep on the straight and narrow, yes, where we focus on the most important things, then I think we're good to go. Yeah, I think we're good to go.
All right, guys, and that's the story of how I got done with 2 rounds of golf in one day, and that's just as relevant as to what the hell chemo.
Well, remember the good flat Earth motto, which is, give me a child of 8 and sensory deprive them of all education, and I can get you a flat earther.
So obviously the talk of this week is going to be Ranty, going back to the globe for no other reason than an observation that has been made several times over the years. It's interesting. It's interesting to see where he will go from here, whether he defends the globe or just quietly rides off into the atmospheric magnified sunset.
I expect from here he might do some shows with Kat about with whatever channel they've got going on, but I would be surprised if he does any meaningful engagement with Flat Earth from now on. I think he'll probably fade quietly. He might continue to explore on his own some of the things he doesn't understand and try to gain an understanding of them. But I'm sure he feels some amount of embarrassment for the past years.
I imagine if he goes on a place like Brandon's or 24/7, he'll be ridiculed mercilessly and be called a number of names.
I applaud him for having.
Brian already did that.
I applaud him for having the courage to actually come to the conclusions that he did based on the evidence that he saw. It's refreshing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was very brave of him.
Indeed.
Yeah, Ranty will be out of the picture. He will be, as Louis say, maybe within this next week. Maybe he'll jump in here or there. I don't doubt that he will pop in the Brandon show during this next week for an hour or so. He's like, I was just chilling, stopping by, and everybody's gonna go crazy on him, you know. But he will continue doing the work with cats, and he will be off of the picture.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like from what he said that he had already kind of started resigning himself from a lot of the conversations. I expect that to sort of remain the same.
You know, there's actually
and that is good. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's good
Jose, this is actually going to go to you too, man. This was there's actually a sizable enough group of prominent flat earthers who are now Globers again. You could have an interesting panel. Get Seek Truth. Was it Seek Truth, Speak Truth? Sean G, Ranty. There's a couple other good ones you could have on for a nice panel.
Man. Oh, what's that weird guy called? Lives down in Florida somewhere. Jose, somebody or other. Wasn't he a flat earther at one point?
I think his last name is Frogs.
There was another guy named Cat Earth, and then there was another guy named Alex as well. Now that's confusing because Cat Earth, Human Sheeple as well. Cat Earth's real name is Alex, and he commonly it's not? Okay, well he's commonly
sorry. Continue. Please.
Cat Earth has commonly gone by Alex online, so I don't think
it's not Human Sheeple, it's Sheeple's Phoenix.
Only Sheeple. I say only Sheeple, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't get those two confused.
Right.
Yeah, there's Alex.
Sheeple, what the fuck?
There's a lot of them.
That's Human Sheeple. Oh my god.
It's like I've been saying, people are leaving the flat earth in droves. They're realizing the lies that have been told to them. You know, when it's examined, it just doesn't hold up, no matter how persuasive the snake oil salesman rhetoric is.
I've got a question. Do you believe do you believe that you could take a plumb bob and get a vertical
Jesus
measurement?
Fucking Christ, David! You're worse than Joby these days, man. What the fuck?
Answer a simple question.
David, how long is it going to be before you realize how foolish this all is and come and see the light?
I've been muted for an hour. I asked one simple question: can you get a vertical measurement?
Totally derails the conversation, David.
Yeah, David, I heard you 20 minutes ago, bro.
I'm not derailing the conversation.
But I heard you 20 minutes ago. Are you using
where does
flat
this lead
earth
if the answer is yes?
Oh, so you can't take a plumb bob and get a vertical measurement, right?
Where does this lead if the answer is yes?
Okay, when you Google plumb bob vertical measurement, you know there are 0 search results.
Plumb bob vertical measurement.
So?
Oh, look, about 3.5 million results in 0.85 seconds.
3.5 million, 0. It's pretty much the same thing if you think about
it. Go to images.
Images. Oh, look, pages upon pages upon pages of images.
David, why in the world would you think there's 0 images? There's nothing that has 0 images. Everything gets results. Like, come on, dude.
That's what I just said.
I think we should let him keep going. He may get something right at some point. Carry on, David.
There's 8 images. If you look
how many images are there?
Vertical measurement, there's 8 images. Here,
I don't know. I can't count. Does this look like 8?
Okay, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7. Not even 8. Plumb bob vertical measurement.
I have literally hundreds of thousands of images for plumb bob vertical measurements.
No, maybe the search engine you're using is just bad.
The rest of the results may not be.
Are you using a flat Earth search engine?
No, he's searching his own phone. He's searching inside his phone.
You're searching your personal data, dude. You're not looking at Google.
Yeah, you're searching your gallery, David. You gotta go on Google, bro.
Is there such thing as a flat Earth engine?
Plumb bob vertical measurement, eight images.
David, listen to me. I just did it too. I did it on Google. I'm not lying to you. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of images. So you did it wrong. Just try again. Go to Google. Go to the actual Google page.
I'm curious. What site are you searching on?
I go on the Google search bar, and then I go to images, and then I put plumb bob vertical measurement in the search, and then I hit search. Right. It goes.
Yes, sir.
So and you spell plumb bob PLUMB, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got
Bob is B-O-B.
I've got 7 images, and then it says this: the rest of the results may not be what you are looking for. See more anyway.
That's not what I have. I have tons and tons of actual.
Are you on mobile or on desktop?
I'm on mobile.
Huh.
Hey, Dallas, why don't you stay on the damn topic? What did you think of the results that Ranty saw that finally converted him? How do you address that trigonometry?
Can I get verification that we've got 7 search results for plumb bob?
I'm posting in the debate chat box for you. I have a picture for you, David. Tell me if you're
David, it might be different between the mobile site and the desktop one, because at least on desktop for me, it doesn't say. On the desktop site, it doesn't say like which images it thinks are like most relevant and which might not be. It just
but the images that I'm getting, Emerald, they're all relevant. They're all the same kind of thing.
I mean, yeah, all my images look like plumb. Oh, not all of them,
so David, are you getting this kind of a page? Look at the page I got. I'm showing you just the first part.
Hold on, let me look.
David's is much more on point. Much more on point than Chemo or Lemon answering or pretending to answer a fucking question, and he's far less dishonest in what he's doing right now.
You were gone, but Lemon tried to apologize to you. He said he's sorry for being a little obnoxious.
He said I'm sorry for being a bitch.
What?
I don't know what you're doing. I've just looked on my phone, and I've got dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of images, and I haven't got it saying, do you want to press this button to show things that aren't relevant? Not getting that at all.
Yeah, I don't have that either. I've got hundreds
it might be
of
something
images and
specific to the app or site that you're using on mobile, David. But
I think that David, this criteria you're using isn't working. So maybe
I just remember David's on the special government list. We're not allowed to talk about that, you know.
Maybe it has to do with your search history of silliness. It just couldn't find.
I think Jose called it.
I
think it's his personal pictures. He's got 7 pictures that he owns on his phone. His personal data that has one lot in them.
Yeah, he's on that NASA restriction.
If David's not on a fly list,
I
if
don't know,
David's not on a no-fly list, somebody's not doing their fucking job.
No, he's on a no-browse list.
I'm curious where this would lead. So if we were to say yes,
doesn't lead anywhere.
He's saying that they're covering up the truth and they're not giving you the tools that you need to discover it for yourself. That's what he's saying.
Wait, how would they be covering up the truth by not saying something is possible?
Because they're hiding the plumb bobs from you.
It doesn't make sense, Emerald. Stop looking for sense here.
We're looking for a vertical measurement of the Earth using a plumb bob. Your vertical curvature.
What the fuck is a
research
vertical
flat plumb bob?
What is a vertical measurement of the Earth, the curve of Earth? What is that, David?
That would be where you go. You need to tell me. You don't think you can measure the Earth vertically using mountains and hills and valleys and lakes and everything else?
I have no idea what you mean by that statement. What do you mean by that?
If you can measure things vertically perfectly, right? You can do that, right? There is no refraction in vertical measurements, now is there?
Oh my God.
What he wants is for you to measure a tangent line, force it perfectly straight out over a mile, and then take a plumb measurement from that tangent.
No, you're not. You use no horizontal lines, only vertical lines.
I mean, we have. I mean, this is. I mean, I'm going to try and hopefully tie this into what other folks were wanting to talk about, which is what Ranty's sort of conclusions were. But I mean, if you want to make a vertical measurement, right, we have elevation data for these mountains and such. But then when we look out across long distances and see them compared to other objects in the foreground, somehow there's this like discrepancy and missing height that we should be seeing, but that appears to be lower than it should be. So in a sense, we can take an optical sort of measurement of the apparent size of objects, and there's this drop, this lower level like discrepancy between what the elevation data says versus what we're seeing. So yeah, there's a way in which you can somewhat measure.
You got a 0 point when you start at sea level, right? That's where you start. That's where zero elevation is. Mm-hmm. And if you're taking vertical elevations, that's up and down. So you're going to have a 0 point, and you're going to start at sea level, so that you would find no curvature on land. Is that agreeable?
I have no idea what you're trying to say.
I'm not sure.
How would you find the curvature of the Earth vertically on land?
How are you doing anything vertically if you're only looking straight up?
No, you're comparing verticals where you're staying vertical.
But how? How are you? What are you comparing verticals up?
You're going to have to do it by height.
By height of what? How are you measuring the height of something by looking straight up and not seeing it?
That's what I'm asking you.
Right. You don't look straight up at something that you can't see and pretend you're measuring the height of it.
All you got to know is that you're vertical to the next point. And so
right,
you're going to
David,
on a ball Earth, you're going to go off vertical.
David, tell everybody what you mean by just vertical measurements.
If you take a plumb bob and then you take another plumb bob in the distance, and on a round Earth, those plumb bobs are not going to be plumbed to one another at a certain distance. Correct?
Correct.
Yep.
Plumb bobs are not parallel. Yes, that's measured.
All right. How can you prove that you got plumb bobs that aren't parallel?
Use the theodolite. You so you get two theodolites, or just one in two different places, and you calibrate them so that they're both plumb locally, and then you compare the angles.
Yeah.
There's like a 10-minute video out there that I think a guy does this across like.
What makes you think that a plumb bob in one location isn't going to be straight up and down and plumb to another location? I don't understand why you think
the measurements say that.
It doesn't even matter the height that you're at. You could be on top.
We don't think that. We do not think that plumb bobs are parallel to each other on the Earth, and that's been measured. And as Admiral very, very eloquently said, you know, there are videos out there showing this in some detail.
I forget which one
if you put a plumb bob in your pocket, if you put a plumb bob in your pocket and you walk and you let it out.
David's new favorite word is fucking plumb bob.
Look, the plumb bob is plumb right here. Then you walk 50 miles, pull your plumb bob back out, and guess what? It's going to be plumb right there also.
Okay. So David, the thing that you're doing there, right, is anywhere you drop a plumb bob, it's going to essentially tell you what plumb is. So, like, by definition, it's going to be vertical.
Do you think he really thinks he believes what he's saying, though, Admiral?
But what you do, David, is you take multiple plumb bobs in different places at the same time and compare them to each other. Not the same plumb bob.
Sucked in. This is not a serious conversation, Emerald, just so you're aware.
I think he's fucking with you. I think he knows exactly what he just said. And I think he realizes exactly the stupidity of it as well.
If you want to compare, David, let me get your point across for you. If you're looking to compare the vertical at each of the two different locations, you must wet the plumb bob. When you hang it at the first location, wet it down, and then when you move it, the plumb bob will remember the orientation that vertical was in the first location, and that will allow you to compare due to the water memory. Correct?
Plumb bob, I love it.
David, you want me to help you out here a little bit? You want to know the answer to your little question?
Jesus fucking hell, Bob.
No, he doesn't. But go ahead.
All right. So if you're at the North Pole and you drop a plumb bob, if you look straight up 90 degrees, you're going to see Polaris, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sirree, Bob.
All right,
Okay.
this is a story that's unproven.
Go to any other location on Earth and drop a plumb bob and see if Polaris is directly above you. That's all you need.
We understand, and we understand that this is a Santa Claus story. We're not doing it to a star. A plumb bob doesn't have to have a star to be able to be plumb. Correct?
Oh, moron!
And you don't have to have a star to know if a plumb bob is vertical.
Yeah, but if you look
because
at the
plumb
North Pole,
bobs are
right there.
vertical on themselves.
Hello, David. Are you really stupid?
Go ahead.
Yeah, but if you do it in Texas, where's Polaris? Is it directly overhead?
It doesn't matter about the stars.
Listen to me, moron. Is the star overhead when you drop the plumb bob in Texas?
I have to look north to see the North Star from Dallas.
So the answer is no. Very good.
Okay, how about a star that's right above my head?
Okay,
Would
but go to the North Pole.
It would be plumb to the star above my head. Maybe not the North Star, but another star, right?
Yeah, but the North Star was the one that Bob was using as a reference point to show you that your plumb bob.
Well, because that's the only fixed star in the sky.
No, you're not this stupid. You do understand this. You're just plain stupid.
No, we're not comparing plumb bobs to stars. This is not the point.
We are. In this case, we are.
Why would we do that? Why would I take a plumb bob that I know is totally vertical?
Moron.
Why do I need Polaris? Doesn't tell me what's vertical.
Yeah, Polaris tells you what's vertical at the North Pole.
Okay, so we know that vertical. So what your claim is that the North Pole, a plumb bob is vertical to the North Pole.
A plumb bob is vertical to the gravitational attraction to the Earth. And in the case of the North Pole,
okay, so as I walk away, my plumb bob is no longer plumb from the plumb bob at the North Pole.
Correct.
Well, if I'm walking,
they call that an epiphany, man.
If I'm walking away from the star and I'm no longer under the star, but my plumb bob goes up and down, my plumb bob's correct, and the star is not over my head anymore. So, what is your point?
The point is,
somebody gonna blow his mind? Guys,
so
is somebody gonna blow his mind and let him know that Jesus Christ, David.
Go ahead.
Is somebody gonna break his heart and let him know that Polaris does move in the sky? It just makes a very small circle.
Oh, my heart.
In this case, it's
All right, we know about it, just barely visible. Supposedly,
negligible.
This one little bitty aspect of a pinpoint in a camera lens that it moves. Yes, we've heard about that.
3/4 of a degree.
All right, if you say so. It has nothing to do. If I walk out from underneath a set of stairs and I walk down the hall to another part of the house, the light that was in the other room is no longer above my head, but I'm still flat on the ground over here. My plumb bob's still vertical. What is your point?
Yeah, I'm not sure where you're getting.
It doesn't work that way. Does it?
What does the plumb bob? Why does the plumb bob have to be only vertical to the North Star?
It's not. Idiot. It's not to your gravitational attraction.
No, that's what you're saying is that it becomes because the Earth is round. It's no longer plumb to the North Star.
Correct.
No, it's no longer plumb to the North Star because I'm not any longer directly underneath it.
Yeah, but what's the angle that your plumb bob is to the North Star now? Is it parallel or is it sitting at about a 30-degree angle in Texas?
Well, if I took my plumb bob, it's going to tell me that how many degrees that I'm still plumb and level from where I was standing before I walked out from underneath the North Star.
No, in this case, you're not.
That's what a plumb bob does tell you, is that you're still vertical from where you were at. There is no gravity.
That's it. There is gravity. Plumb bob goes.
See, you're trying to compare where you see a star in the sky to a plumb bob, and you can't do it.
Are you really this stupid, or are you just pretending to be? Is there any way we can
move away from this? Can we move on?
Sure, we can move out from under Polaris real quick.
If you answer the question, then we can.
Well, then
every time we try to.
I was going to say,
David. Right,
David.
just because your plumb bob is plumb all over the earth and it doesn't show any curvature, this is the whole point. How do you show curvature of the earth using a plumb bob? Using the North Star? Using the North Star. That's your answer, right?
No, that might have been his answer, but I answered you earlier, and I said you can take multiple plumb bobs or multiple theodolites at the same time in different places, and you'll find that they are not parallel with each other. There are videos of this if you'd like to research it. But in the meantime, does someone else want to change the topic or no?
All you have to do is
we are not going to be allowed to change the topic. Anytime we have a conversation, he will derail back to this nonsense because he's awake.
If I have a line,
David, you've got homework to do. There are videos out there.
I'll tell you what, David. I'll even go and find you one now, just to satisfy your curiosity.
Yeah, that's all right. Y'all.
There was a fallacy here because when David come back, talk about either the plumb bob, but there's another topic is Russia. Anything with Russia. That's the two topics that David talked about.
I'm going to shut up now. I'll come back with some new information here for you.
Thank you, David.
Go ahead. Sorry, Chemo.
Does anyone else have a topic?
Well, there's been a challenge done in the text chat. Christopher is challenging Sean Hawkins to join the call, and I think we all be happy to have Christopher versus Sean Hawkins one-on-one. So we will all step out and listen to you guys. Sean Hawkins, you've been called out. Accept the challenge, or you're bitch made.
Come wait, Hawkins.
Do we really need to have this?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sure.
I just want Hawkins to show off his massive intellect that he seems to want everyone to believe that he has.
By the way, Matt, that is an excellent episode of The Simpsons. Chimako is the best plant ever made.
It's not going to happen anyway because Hawkins won't come in here.
If John Hawkins join, I will send Jen Panda $10 on PayPal.
He won't join.
If John Hawkins join.
Who's going to join? Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Sean Hawkins. The man who brought us probably the most interesting clip of Arwen I've seen in a while. I'm not some little bitch wizard with a physical dependence.